the Opie and Anthony Show.
We're back live.
Yes.
A lot of people have arrived since we took a break. We got Mr. Bob Kelly in studio, Mr. Jim Florentine, and Joe DeRosa.
Not Mr. Joe DeRosa?
Not Mr. Joe DeRosa. He's still a newbie, so he's just Joe DeRosa.
And, of course, the shitting on each other started the second these two walked in the fucking room.
Yeah.
Just fucking shitting on each other.
And we got to go to the hotline right away because Joe Rogan is calling from L.A. Hey, Joe.
Hey, what's up, boys?
Hey,
What
buddy.
up, Joe?
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
It's just a weird day for everyone.
Hanging.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
Yeah.
Yeah, someone said you played a nice clip and said some stuff on your podcast yesterday, too.
Yeah, we played that one. There's one clip that really, for me, defines Patrice. It's when you guys got in trouble for that. Of course, you remember the crazy guy who said all the shit about Condoleezza Rice.
Yeah.
Homeless
Charlie, who we fucking loved.
Patrice got on that Fox show with that really humorless lady.
Yeah, from now.
And just annihilated her, made her look ridiculous, made the whole thing look preposterous, and defined it in the best way that I heard anybody define all this PC bullshit about going after comedians and radio DJs for trying to be funny. You know, and that it all comes from the same place. That funny all comes from the same place. It was brilliant. The way he said it, the way he put it was brilliant. The way he handled that dumb cunt was brilliant. the whole thing was brilliant. It was just perfect. It was perfect Patrice.
He killed her with intelligence besides the comedy. That's what was so brilliant about it.
When she called him a fool, he won.
Yeah.
You know, he goes, oh, name calling.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm offended. Offended. It was so perfect, you know. Yeah, he killed it with intelligence and charm, and just by being a comic and saying, I'm here speaking for funny, you know. And then when she was like, she tried to like go over his act and paraphrase his act, and he's like, no, that's not what I said. And then he goes and does the whole angry pirate thing.
Yeah. Oh shit, that was hilarious.
No, I said you ejaculate her eye and then you kick her in the shin. And she walks around like an angry pirate. And then people were laughing on the crew, and he's like, how are you laughing?
Right.
This woman is outraged.
Yeah.
Oh god damn, that was fucking funny.
That's a great way to deal with somebody. Like, that's how you deal with a dummy like that from now.
Yeah.
Is you don't cower to them or bow to them. You just, if you're belligerent about it, they really have no recourse, and that's what he did, and he destroyed her.
Yeah, it was vintage Patrice.
And that guy liked him. That John Gibbs really liked Patrice. He would have him. I think Fox got mad at that, but John Gibbs really loved Patrice.
Well, John Gibbs had to do an apology for Patrice's performance.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah, he didn't want to. You could just tell, you know, he was in a bad spot. And then, unfortunately, you know, Patrice is sticking up for us and comedians in general, and like you said, Joe, funny. And it turned out that Fox never used him again. But that was Patrice. He didn't give a fuck.
He didn't care.
He didn't care.
What he did was better than Fox using him 100 times.
Right.
Him towing their company line.
Right.
It was one of my favorite parts is when Patrice was like, I speak for funny. He goes, you speak for people that stand in front of that thing and go, oh, today, blah, 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 blah. He likes to find that guy's life.
Yeah.
His fucking life is 40 hours a week he gets in front of a fucking camera and does that. And Patrice just made him look preposterous.
Right.
You know.
Oh man,
he spoke for funny. He fucking said it, and that was true. He spoke for funny.
She had no idea what she was in for because she probably like.
Man,
and I was saying earlier in the show, the worst thing you could do with Patrice is not realize what a bright guy he was, because he was really a brilliant guy. And she didn't understand that he was a smarter person than she was, and he was going to run circles around her mentally. Like, yeah, he's a big, loud guy, but he was going to outthink her, and he really made an absolute asshole out of her, which was fantastic.
Her whole premise was that she was speaking for America, you know, and we are tired. He's like, who?
Yeah. Name names. Name one name.
Are you speaking for America? Are you speaking for America?
Right.
And he
could speaking for me.
He dismissed her, and if anybody knows the face, the Patrice scrunch The face, the dismissive face scrunch. Oh, you never wanted to be on the receiving end of the dismissive face scrunch.
It would have been a great silent film actor.
Followed by
some faces.
But they're always followed by the Patrice finger.
Yeah, go away. Go away. She's done with you.
Dismissed.
Plowing forward with her pre-rehearsed bullshit. It was beautiful.
I liked your tweet yesterday, Joe, that Patrice was a thinker, man.
Yeah.
People need to understand that.
Yeah. Well, people love to categorize people, and it's so easy. And, when you have a black comic, and, people automatically just assume that they fall into a very specific category, and Patrice was just a brilliant comic. He was a brilliant thinker. He was the type of guy that if he wasn't a comic, he would be that dude that you would, look forward to going to work. Because if you were working with that guy, because he was going to say some funny shit all day while you worked together.
Yeah. One thing that was really great was the fact that he could take a very complicated subject, and I'd be sitting here all geared up for a very in-depth, complicated, let's dissect this subject thing, and he would sum it up in one sentence. And make you think, fuck, that is it. Yeah. Perfect.
It's like when he was talking about the DC sniper on Tough Crowd, remember that? I don't remember. He summed it up to a nigger in a Buick. Just fucking hilarious. And he pointed out that they beeped the word Buick and kept the word nigger. He goes, they beeped Buick.
That's hilarious.
He would have these theories. And he would really grade it at penning you into a corner and making no matter how wrong he was, I'm telling you, white women don't understand cooking. And then he would just, for 15 minutes, convince you, God damn it, he's right, white women stink in the kitchen. He almost got me and my wife to do a threesome with him. Shit. He is a motherfucker.
He was awesome, man. He was awesome. He was a real unique dude, truly a one of a kind.
Yep.
You asked me to find another dude who's like Patrice. Boy, I can't think of one. I really can't. Mm-hmm. He was very uniquely his own person. A very different dude. Very different kind of thinker.
He wasn't afraid of being wrong either, and that's one thing I loved about him and he was wrong sometimes, and he always made it, even when he was wrong and his argument was wrong, he was always interesting. He never gave you a typical or predictable point of view. Even when it was stupid, it was like, well, I could see why he would say that. He was amazing at making you understand why he felt the way he felt.
He was a great listener, which is important,
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a great talker too. I mean,
of course,
I would talk to him for 4 hours on the phone. I remember I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up and he'd still be talking.
You always knew Patrice was done with you, too, because he'd call you up and he would say whatever it was he had to discuss. And then you'd go yeah, man, my relationship's in trouble. And he'd go, you at the cellar tonight? Like, all right, scumbag, I get it, time to go. My ears were available for your fucking dissertation, and now you got to call someone else and repeat yourself. Fucking creep.
He's an awesome dude.
Yeah, that fucking sucks.
Yep. It's very sad, man.
Yeah, well, Stanhope and I were on the phone yesterday, and I called him up, and I'm like, did you hear about Patrice? He's like, yeah. And, we realized there was nothing to say, so we just go, sucks, fucking sucks.
Yeah,
sucks,
that's all you can really say.
And then he said it best. He goes, you know what? It's better that than him not being able to talk.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's been something a lot of people have said, too, yeah.
Yeah. For Patrice, fuck yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine the torture of not being able to point out the stupid shit that you see all around you?
I know, right?
And not even the talking, too. It's like to not be able to, communicate. If you can't, even to little things like nodding or gesturing where you can at least let people know what you want. And anything that happens, people would know is because you want it to happen.
That would kill him, too. If he could just nod and we had to just fucking Voss yapping to him at a coffee shop. You'd see him just crack his own neck. Yeah. Just fucking throw his head on the pavement.
When you think about trying to replicate him, when you think about trying to replace him, that's when you realize how special that dude was. Imagine someone trying to take that.
Nah, impossible.
He never, even when I met him in Boston, I met him, me and Billy and Dane.
20 years ago, right, Bobby?
Yeah, I met him in a remember the BCN comedy riot, Joe?
Oh yeah, yeah.
We were all in it together, and he showed up, and he's just, it's Boston, but he's this big black dude. There was never a race around him, though.
No.
He'd hang out with Patrice. I used to drive him to his house in Roxbury, and it was never like, oh my God, I'm driving a black dude back to the project. It was just driving Patrice home. He was always just Patrice. He was never, not to say that like he didn't, bring up black sub or he wasn't black, but it was never I'm black, you're white. It was just fucking Patrice all the time.
Yep.
Yeah, he didn't fall into that easy box. There's an easy box to fall into when you're a black comic. You start doing black comedy. A lot of black comics will tell you too, like that they get pressured to do a certain type of comedy to fit in on Chocolate Monday or Fat Tuesday or whatever those all black shows are. He never did that. He was just Patrice. You're right.
No, the crowd was always diverse every time you saw him.
I remember though we talking on the phone. You could talk about shit, and it wasn't like a fucking. You talk to comics. It's like that's a bit. You should do that. And it's like shut the fuck up. If you ever did that with him, you'd be like motherfucker.
I'm trying to talk to you.
Yeah. we were talking one day. How do you tell if Japanese people are gay? He was like, you'd have to go, dude. You like pussy? Hey. you like sucking dick? Hi.
You totally think that.
You could talk to him about bullshit for hours. Nothing.
The dumbest
for
thing
hours.
you could discuss for hours.
Hours.
Right?
I remember he had so many phases too. He would tell you fucking. He'd make fun of you for something, and then a month later show up with the same hat, and you'd be like, "You motherfucker!" He'd be like, "Yeah, we can do."
It's cool. It's cool now.
Yeah.
You'd say it's cool now, though.
He bought my watch. This motherfucker called me on the, my big Breitling that I've had. It was the first thing I bought when I got any money at all. And everybody, he gave me shit. Dude, what do you need such a fucking big watch for? I like it, whatever. He called me up with it. What kind of watch you got? Like, it's a Breitling Super Avenger. It's all, the white face. It's great. And then he showed up the next time. He had the exact same watch. And it's not a Timex. It's it's like $3,000.
Gotta go out of your way.
And then he told me not to wear his watch. He's like, stop wearing my watch in public, man. And people believed it was his watch. His phases were true. Like, he went through the fucking football jersey phase.
Right.
I watched the old Tough Crowd clips. And, he always thought that was his thing. He would wear the Dolphins hat and the Dolphins jersey. Yep. And then all of a sudden he was a fucking putting on the Ritz with his stupid big hats. He wore fucking extra large suits.
Yeah.
He walked in the cellar one night with a suit on and one of those fucking hats. I said, are you coming out with your own barbecue sauce? He never really caught a full pounding, though. I've gotten full poundings.
Yes.
I've gotten to the point where I've thrown clothes out. Like, I went home and talked to my wife, and she was like, "It's all right. Maybe you should find new friends."
His laugh would diffuse all that though, when you're trying to get at him, and then he would just kill the whole mood with one big over-the-top laugh. You're like, fuck.
And he was so loud.
Right.
Yeah, I remember the first time I met him. I'm at the Comedy Cellar, and I do a set, and I guess he's following me, so he's in the hallway, and I walk out, and he's just shaking his head. He's like, "You drove in for Jersey for that?" And he pulls a 20 out. He goes, "Here's some toll money. I feel bad for you." That's the first time I'm like, what a fucking dick. And then he just starts to laugh. "Come here, man." I'm like, "Fuck you." He's like, "Oh, come here, come here." And he just started laughing. He's like, "Man, that was fucking awful. That was fucking awful." Never forget that.
He was definitely able to tread that line between being just a complete scumbag and being unbelievably charming.
He was. Somehow he was charming after that. And I talked to him.
How the fuck is that possible?
The first time I met him was at the Cellar. I was like a year into comedy, and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in New York. And I walked
knock that right out of you.
Yeah, I walked in. I had really curly, froey hair and a big bushy beard. And him and Keith were talking, and I kind of knew Keith. And I wanted to chime in with my stupid whatever. And I go, "You know what I think?" And he just looks at me with the scrunchy face that you're talking about, Jim. And he goes, "Shut the fuck up, you halfway through a werewolf transformation."
Oh, that's brutal.
I didn't speak for like 6 months in the cellar after that.
Well, you shouldn't have. That's fucking hilarious. Oh, goddamn.
Goddamn.
You know, his take on things was always so different. It was always so like, whoa, okay, and there's that too. You know,
yeah.
Pull it out of nowhere.
Yeah, things you just wouldn't fucking think of. Yeah,
Right. He's one of the funniest guys on the.
Ever.
I mean, no. I mean, I watch. You can watch all the greats, Chris Rock, all those fucking guys. He's. I think he's funnier and up there with all of them.
Yeah. Especially in person.
It's just the industry. If the industry gave him a pass, if somebody said you. Because he didn't want to do it on anybody else's terms. He didn't want to fucking play ball and feel like shit because he fucking played ball with people that he regularly wouldn't like, and that he was funnier than, and he knew funny, and they didn't. If they gave him just a he would be the biggest thing of all time.
That's why I said he only deals with mid-level Jews. He's talking about the mid-level Jews.
He can handle them.
Well, I'll tell you, his last Comedy Central special was pretty fucking good, man. It was. It was great. It was a real, true representation of what he's capable of doing. You know, and so oftentimes, you know, we know a lot of guys who never really get that one special that sort of kind of defines their act, but he nailed it. He nailed it in that Comedy Central special.
Yeah, that was a good one. He was a good. And stop if I know you guys are passing that around, but go fucking buy it.
Yeah,
don't just watch the whole fucking thing.
No, we were saying that before, just like
because the money's going to go toward his family.
Yeah, go buy it and spend the money and have it and own it and fucking support Patrice's family.
Are you guys going to do any benefit shows or anything?
No, we're never going to do that.
No way, not for free.
Not for free. I'm kidding. If they give out like cool iPads, I'll
mail. I got a check for $250 waiting. Yeah, I'm sure we'll wind up doing something. Sure.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna do something.
This is just so new. We'll figure it all out.
I forgot what I was gonna say.
No. I got a question. Did you guys ever see him bummed out ever?
All the time.
Sure.
I saw him.
Really?
I remember in L.A. He actually taught me. Patrice was.
What do you mean all the time?
Well, because we talked all the time. We're always fucking with comics, you know.
These comics are always miserable.
He should have been. He shouldn't have. He told me. He said, "Dude, I should be more famous than I am. I shouldn't be friends with you." He's like, "I love you, Bobby, but I shouldn't be able to. I shouldn't be as accessible to you as I am. Like, you can just call me." But yeah, man, I remember when in L.A. he was staying with me in L.A. and I was staying in Culver City at a 1-bedroom, and we both did this competition. And he went forward in it, and he of course he did. He was staying on. He had to come back out. He's staying on my couch, and now I'm not in the competition. He wanted rides to this. He wanted me to drive him to the Laugh Factory. I was in the competition. I didn't get picked. Now you want me to drive you? But he actually schooled me. He was like, "Yeah, that's what friends do. You fucking piece of garbage. You drive me. You let me stay at your house. You feed me. That's what you." And I was like, "Oh, okay. You're right. You're fucking right. That's what we do. We fucking help each other." And I remember he came home after doing it, and he did well. And he just was like, he didn't know if he got it, and he didn't think he did because something happened. It wasn't a perfect set, and I remember he was so fucked up. Like, just give me a fucking break. Like, and this was years ago.
Yeah.
And it just give me one fucking break. I can't. They wanted him to cut something out of his act, and if he did it, he would compromise his set and what he thought was funny.
Okay, yeah.
And if he didn't, it would be good for to go on in the competition, and he didn't. He did it. And they fucking let him do his thing, and he got in, and he got the Showtime special. So, I mean, that's one of those defining moments where you cut it, and I'll cut it. Go ahead. I just want to be liked and fucking on TV.
Right.
Most guys would do that. Most guys would go, whatever you want, whatever you're going to do. He would take, that's why people didn't understand him. He would take that moment and go, if I do this, I know it's not a big deal, but if I do this, I'm changing who I am, I think I am. And I can't fuck you. I'm not cutting anything.
You think he was stubborn in that way, or
it wasn't I think it's a point in life where you got to choose who the fuck you are.
Right. Well, some people always felt like, God, just make that tiny little change. But to him, it felt like a massive.
And it's a snowball effect too. Once you make one compromise, then you're going to just keep doing it.
But he was at times uncompromising in an unreasonable way, and he would tell you that. Like there's times where he would look back and probably go like, I wish I had played the game a little bit, because it is a business and you have to do certain things that he wasn't good at doing. Yeah. And he would say that, like he knew that.
Yeah, my friend was an audio guy on this Comedy Central pilot that him and Voss did. I think they were like roasting people at a wedding or something like that. This is in the early 2000s. And he said that, Patrice had his mic on. He was listening and he abused these Comedy Central executives when they came down to watch the pilot and give notes. He goes, I never heard a fucking bashing before in my life. Ultimately, the pilot never got picked up. He's like, I respect that guy, man, because he just told him that shit ain't funny. I ain't fucking doing it. Wow. Why are you here? Why you have a pocket watch? Go home. Jesus Christ. Yeah, some big guys there too, and the pilot never got picked up. It's like I respect that motherfucker.
It's like web junks. I mean, that's the Tosh 2.0 that he's getting millions of dollars for.
Right.
That's what it is. Yep. And he was like, that he got into a problem with them, and he was like, no, fuck you. And I would have fucking, whatever you want, sir. Everybody in this room would have fucking bent over and took it in the ass.
Most people we know certainly would have made changes, but that wasn't Patrice.
No.
He had such a like a firm understanding too with the realities of that, which he would always say like, look, man, if you want to walk that righteous road, you got to take the lumps. Like you got to be ready to lose money. And whatever, and he would talk about like if somebody at a club when he was coming up would say, Patrice, don't do that bit where you say cunt or whatever, and you go, is it a big deal for me not to do the bit? Not really, but it's just a matter of I can't allow you to tell me to not do it, because once I open that door a little bit, then it swings open and it never, you know what I mean? It's just the floodgates are open, and a lot of guys aren't familiar with that the way he was. A lot of guys go, I want to be the fucking rebel, but I also want to be loved by everybody.
He was also defensive sometimes when he did, like he would do that, because, everybody wants to succeed and do well. And then when he realized, like, hey, this group actually likes me, then he would think, oh, okay. Like, he a lot of times was more defensive than he needed to be, because more people were going to like him and be comfortable with him than he thought.
Well, he said that one time. He goes, I'd rather make you feel uncomfortable than I feel uncomfortable. Then you make me feel uncomfortable. Like people come into the room, the execs and the big powerful people, and you'd feel fucked up. He says, I'd rather just immediately make him feel like a piece of shit than me sitting there feeling like a piece of shit. Which may be wrong, may hurt him, I don't know, but it fucking makes sense. I mean, it was hilarious to watch when some important fucking douche would walk in the room. He goes, look at you. Fucking short. Is that a wig?
We had such a fight when we were fucking taping the Colin Quinn show on NBC. It was there was 3 episodes, and I was in 2 of them with Patrice. And we would do our act. It was Monday nights at 9:30 on NBC on the SNL stage, and it was live. So Colin would do an opening monologue and opening bits, and then he did something called Town Hall, which was like Nick DiPaolo and a couple of us, Keith, myself, Geraldo was in I think a couple of them, and Patrice, and we would just do a bit of our act. It was like the original Tough Crab. We were actually doing pieces of our act for a couple of minutes each into live TV. And I remember I had to go over things with standards and practices, and I was trying to get something through. And fucking, he was standing there just shit-talking me and the woman. And I'm like, well, look, why can't I say this? It's about race. And she's like, well, you can't do that. And he's just like, what are you doing? And I'm like, shut the fuck up, would you? This is live television, you asshole. Oh, we had such a fucking fight. And he was wrong. That one he was wrong about, because he was like just being him. And I'm like, dude, this is standards and practices on NBC. I'm doing fucking live TV. Oh. Because when he was nervous, he was...
Yeah.
Fucking just venting.
Do you remember the fight we got in Brazil? I mean, were you there in Brazil? We had a rule in Brazil: if you got a lady of the evening, you put her in a car behind you, because they're a bunch of fucking criminals. You know what I mean?
You don't want them throwing drugs and blaming you.
And there's roadblocks everywhere, especially on the weekends. The cops just set up a roadblock. They look in, see a tourist with one of the girls, and they pat you down. Then you get to pay them off. We had this rule, but Patrice was Patrice. The fucking mayor of Brazil, fucking Rio.
After one day.
Well, he spoke fucking 2 Portuguese words, and it sounded like he spoke fluent Portuguese. Because he would slow it down. He'd go, tutto ben, obrigado. What the fuck? Shut the fuck.
Yeah, he really thought he was a man about town. It's like they want your money, asshole.
You guys were doing gigs in Brazil?
No, Joe.
Fucking hookers.
We're banging $30 whores. Yeah. Yeah, that was 3 to 1 back then, too.
Dude,
right?
we would take fucking 100 milligram Viagras and go to the whorehouse and just not come until like the third or fourth girl because once you blew the load, you were done. And I remember me and him standing there in our robes upstairs in fucking whatever that thermos
Monte
was.
Carlo.
Monte Carlo. And I had a fucking 100 milligram Viagra hard-on poking out the front of my fucking robe. And you couldn't see my dick, but you could see the tent. And me and him were just standing there, and we're both just looking at the tent in my robe, and we're howling at exactly where we are and what we're doing. We're like in a third world country taking dick pills and fucking prostitutes for $20 American dollars.
Holy shit. You flew in for that?
Oh, my God,
yes. You didn't hear about the Brazil years?
Oh, yeah.
Joe,
That was like a 2-3 year period with these guys.
Joe, more than once.
Yeah. How many years was it? Was it about a 3-year period?
No, it was when we were off the air. I never went once we came back on because I felt like I had too much to lose and things could go wrong so quickly there. I think we did 3 trips. Once I stayed in the Sheraton and twice the Rio Othon.
The Othon. Yeah, but Patrice, man, and Brazil, oh, God, was he funny. I remember the last day we ran around and just took pictures of everything for our families. Like, we spent...
like you were really there on
I had changes of clothes. I was like, let me put the shirt on. Up at the fucking Cristo, the Jesus statue. But
that's hilarious.
We would, I remember we got in the fucking car. We're in the car.
Yeah.
He puts one of these cars are small. The cabs are real small. Right? They're just these small little shit cars.
Yeah.
He gets in the front. You imagine how big he is. Then he throws his girl in the back with me. With me. And the rule is no whores in the same car. And I'm going, Patrice, don't put the girl. Put her in the car. She doesn't want to go in the car by herself. She wants to go with Patrice. Right? He goes, get in the car. And I'm like, Patrice, get her out of the car. And get her. And we're driving. Just go. And all of a sudden he goes, shut the fuck up, Bobby. And very rarely hear Patrice snap for real.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you shut the fuck up. Then we look and there's a roadblock, just cops. And I'm like, great.
Oh, fuck.
And they pull us over and he's nervous now. Everybody's shitting their pants. They got fucking machine guns, but their finger is on the trigger, which is, you're not supposed to
have your finger on the trigger.
So they take us out, and Patrice is, everybody's fucking, I'm in like, you fucking cocksucker.
Brazilian prison.
We're gone. We're gone.
Yeah.
And he's out there. They got the girl out there. They're talking Portuguese to the girl. You don't know what she's ratting us out, throwing us on the bus. The fucking cab driver, Patrice said, and then they get to me. I got 1,000 real in my pocket, which they're taking that. That's fucking gone. You know, and then I tried to assimilate because I'm such a worm. I tried to, because I have puffy lips and I might look a little Spanish. I just said "sí" because I didn't. I said, you understand they have guns on us, okay?
Yeah.
The guy's patting me down. He touches every pocket. I'm like, see. I said C around 87 times. All of a sudden, on the 50th C, you hear Patrice go. he starts losing it. Oh, shit. You get back in the car, he goes, you fucking idiot. He's like, if you said C one more time. Oh, shit. He is a funny motherfucker, man.
Some foreigner being frisked by the NYPD just standing there going, yes. What an idiot he'd look like. That was you, Bobby.
I was scared.
Fucking hilarious.
You know, Patrice would talk his way out of jail.
Yeah.
You guys would actually do a fundraiser to fucking get a lawyer to get him out. You'd leave me there. We're working on it, Kelly.
You'd love it.
That was a fucking gay joke.
Yeah.
Well, this sucks.
Yeah, it fucking blows me. I'm going to miss him a lot.
Yeah, everybody is, definitely. Well, Mr. Anything else, sir?
Oh, nothing, man. You know, what can I say? And it's a unique friendship that comics have with each other. You know, there's very few people like us. You know, the only people that are like us are you guys, or radio DJs. You're essentially the same thing. You're just doing it on the radio instead of doing it at a comedy club. You know,
needy creeps. That's all we
Needy,
all are.
damaged creeps.
Damaged, needy fucking messes, disasters.
Right.
We are the best and worst of humans.
Yeah.
We are the.
You only get us. You only get us if you fuck us up when we're young.
Yeah, that's true.
You have shitty parents and shitty situations growing up. You know, the beautiful thing is it creates, MMA fighters, stand-up comics, musicians, anybody who's like, really fucking determined to express themselves.
Trying to hide all this shit inside a rolling paper outer crust. It's just fucking barely there.
When they stopped Sandusky when he was fucking that kid, they're like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm making a comic. Like, okay.
That kid's going to be brilliant in another 10 years.
Shit.
Yeah, Joe, well said, brother. Well said.
Yeah.
Well, there's nothing we can say that's going to make this good. It's just he was awesome. He was awesome when he was alive, and I'm just happy I got to know him. I wish I knew him more. I wish I was around him more. I'd already left Boston, but when he was coming up, and I already left New York when he was there. I was already in L.A. But when I did get to hang out with him, it was awesome.
It's weird. It's like it's funny. It's like I'm grateful. I said to somebody like, I had a very complete friendship with him. Like, there's nothing that I say, like, I wish I had said this.
Right.
I wish I had expressed that. Like, we traveled together. We did
You said
gigs
that to me.
together. Oh, was it to you?
Yeah, apparently we don't have that, but go ahead.
No, you like,
I'm right here, Jim. I'm right here. I remember it. You should.
You told me that last week, too.
Oh, okay.
I didn't remember.
Fucking shit friend he is.
Why? It's my.
I don't know who I said it to, but I had a complete friendship
sorry, Bob.
with, fuck you.
I didn't remember. You were just a big pair of fat ears I was saying it to. Sorry. I guess I should write down in a notebook, said to Bob. All right, so listen. I was talking to this fat fuck that I know, and I say, sorry, Bob. But it's like you look back on it, and I'm like, I'm really happy that I was friends with him, and I'm really like happy that we did that shit together. And it's like, I don't look back and go, fuck, I wish I had said that, man. Like, you look back with regret, and there was none.
Yeah.
There's not one thing that when he was in the hospital, I'm like, I have to say this to him, or I have to get this pointed, because he knew. I mean, I knew how much he liked me, and he knew how I felt about him.
It was
and
complete.
It was a real complete relationship.
He was fucking
That's all you
great,
could ask
man.
for.
Yeah,
He was fucking call you up for his barbecue and be like, yo, man. He actually called you and thanked you for coming to the barbecue.
Yeah.
Which is like, dude, for all the shit that people say about him, like he's this and he's that and he's this big motherfucker and he makes fun of people and he's mean to people, he wasn't. He was funny all the time.
All the time.
And funny, that's what funny is fucking making fun of people and being as honest as you possibly can. But he was also one of the nicest guys I know. He would call you up and go, yo, man, I just want to call you up and thank you for coming by, man. I appreciate you coming by to my barbecue. It's like, what?
He fucking cooked at my barbecue for hours for a bunch of people he didn't know most of them, and just cooked there because he just enjoyed doing it. And then when he was done, I'm such a racist.
You had him do that.
I just like, get to work. Get to work.
Did you make him wear a pancake hat?
Yeah.
Fucking Aryan cocksucker.
Yeah, he can come if he cooks.
Yeah, he's going to cook because I won't have
Only
it.
way I'll let you in my house.
Way to spin it today.
The only thing he asked for when he was done is like,
Kool-Aid?
I just want me and my chick to go in and, Kool-Aid and Cheetos. He goes, I just want me and my chick to be able to watch a movie in the theater.
Really?
And I went downstairs and there were like 5 kids in the theater watching some shit. Yeah, Uncle Paul. And I just walked in there and I was like, I shut the movie off. I was like, all right, Ollie is out. Out. And Patrice is like, oh, you're not going to tell. I'm like, no, I'm doing that. Get out of here.
Jesus, Joe, is that your fucking sinuses? What's that noise? Joe.
Joe, me?
Yeah, you.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying anything. I'm just sitting here.
No, you can hear you breathing in your fucking nose into the microphone.
This phone needs a windscreen.
It sounds like you're trying to blow yourself in a tub.
I can't hear anything. My nose?
No, it's just like that's what a man breathes like.
Yeah.
He
we're
really
not used
is
to
a
that.
man.
Probably heard that on the back of his neck.
Yeah, exactly. Is it weird? Is it weird to hear that breathing without "Don't tell your mother"?
You brought it up. You brought it up.
This motherfucking room can spin.
It really is
really
terrible.
fast.
It's a horrible place. A horrible place.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I was walking over today with a girl, and she's like, that's really nice that everybody's going in to talk about Patrice. And I go, it is nice, but it is going to be the most evil fucking room.
It's never going to be nice.
It's going to be everybody trashing each other.
We all got together down the cellar last night, and it was literally a couple minutes of, man, it sucks. What's up? How you doing? And then nice shirt.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid. And then it just fucking unraveled. It was fucking
incapable of just keeping that moment
Thank
in emotion.
God.
These guys can, I know. I kind of like that.
You guys
man,
can tip your toes into emotion, but that's about it.
It's not true.
That's
It's
about
really
it for
not
you
true,
guys.
man. I mean, it's weird. I've had some. I think we're the most. We just don't do it in public. But I've talked to fucking him. I've talked to, I've talked to Patrice. I mean, some serious, deep. I think we're fucking crazy. That's one of the things that fucks us is that we're so emotional. We have such fucking light skin. It's like fucking the crust of a fucking tapioca pudding. It's just fucking mushy douchebags we are.
He's trying to make a thin-skinned analogy.
Always brings it back to food, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like the crust of a delicious tapioca with a little brown sugar on it. Cinnamon. I like cinnamon.
Speaking of which, can you guys send an order out right now?
I'm starving over here.
Yeah, we can get some food for
There's
everyone.
nobody in this room in shape except for Anthony.
No, well,
Florentine's in shape. Look at
Let me
Florentine.
see.
Look at Jimmy.
Florentine's
Jim looks
arms.
good.
Let me see.
It's all right.
No, take your shirt off, Jim.
No, but I wanted to say about Patrice. I mean, he did have a serious side. Like, my ex-girlfriend passed away, and he was close to her. He loved her. He's like, she was my favorite. And he called me like 3 days a week for like the first month.
Oh, wow.
And I was afraid to pick up the phone the first time because I really thought he was just going to tear into me.
Oh,
you
shit.
ain't over that shit yet? Ain't you fucking a bitches? But he would just call and we'd talk like that. So, he did show a human side. And then about 3 months later, he's like, you ain't over this shit yet? Get the fuck out there.
I'm going to tell you what a fucking piece of shit he could be, too. I'm going to tell you a story right now that I've never told anybody.
I got a couple more. I got like 4 more piece of shit stories.
And I love this. I love them so much, and I understood them so well that I let this go. But anybody else should have never talked to this fucking idiot. My wife last year, I think it was last year, not this year's October, the last October, she planned a surprise birthday party for me. Huge. Okay, event. It was supposed to be 100 people and fucking burlesque dancers, and then Geraldo passed away on the night that the party was supposed to take place. So she had
That was his wake. Oh, right. Okay.
She had to cancel it and make it, literally at the last second, rearrange everything and make it into a small restaurant. And she could only afford a couple, like a small amount of people.
She wanted to roast you. She wanted us to go up and roast you a little bit and fuck with you.
It was going to be huge, a huge event. And she told all my friends. Patrice called me up 2 days before the party, and went, Bobby. And I was like, what's up? He goes, I got to tell you something, man. And I'm like, what's up, man? He goes, your wife's planning a surprise party for you, right? And I'm like, what?
What the fuck?
And he goes, I just want to let you know, man, because I don't like surprises. He goes, I don't know if you like surprises like that. I don't know if you like that type of shit, so... and I go, maybe you should have opened with, do you like surprises? And I would have said, yes, I love fucking surprises. I'm a lonely piece of shit. I love surprises.
He was looking out for you.
I fucking knew you knew.
I
fucking knew you knew when you walked in. I was like, he's not surprised. It was
Whoa, what a surprise!
I wasn't expecting this.
This is what he said. He was like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. I go, look, Patrice, you're a fucking piece of shit. You're just a fucking dummy. I go, what? Why would it matter what you think in my life? You fuck. He's like, fuck me, man.
Oh, he knew he fucked up.
Oh, he knew he fucked up.
He was trying to take care of you.
He goes, can you just don't say anything? Just act. I go,
Great.
fuck.
Now you're saddled with that.
I walked into the fucking party. I had to pretend I'm surprised to my wife. I just looked at him and he just a little smirk because he saw my shitty acting.
Well, I didn't know you weren't surprised, nor do I give a shit now. Your level of surprise is a valueless thought to me. I don't think we should. I think the surprise should have been that the party just got canceled and you walk in there alone, asshole.
It's an empty room.
You're in your 40s. No, you're in your 40s. No more surprise parties.
Sorry, we didn't
No
have the little
surprises.
fucking hat for you. Dad, they got a hat with a 4 and a 0.
Oh,
That
God.
fucking
what I
hurts,
think
you
is
piece of
awesome?
shit.
One thing
That
that's
fucking
awesome.
hurts.
Yeah, Joe.
He's an
Yeah,
asshole.
I think it's awesome that you have a forum like this where you can actually talk about them real.
Right.
You know, can you
Yeah.
imagine if you were on a regular fucking radio show, or if you were, forced to do some TV show just a decade ago, you would have had a horseshit through it.
Yep.
You couldn't really be real or be and use every word in your vocabulary. You know, it's so appropriate that we get to talk about this guy in this form.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it feels good because that's exactly the type of guy he was. He didn't want you to soft soap it or bullshit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been crying almost every night for a month. I mean, it's like it's not like comedians don't. We're all fucking a wreck over it. It's fucking.
Yeah.
I've been claustrophobic. I haven't been able to sleep. I've been waking up just thinking of him laying there. Like it's been a fucking
I have dreams.
nightmare.
I have dreams that
terrible.
he's actually he gets up. I've been having dreams for the last month that he's up and we're hanging out and he's a little fucked up and he's got a cane but we're talking and and then you wake up and you're like, oh fuck, you start crying and you're like, what the fuck? And,
That's always the weirdest thing when someone passes, when you have dreams about them being okay. And then, I had a few dreams about Phil Hartman after he died, that were like really, really realistic. For people who don't know, his wife shot him in his sleep and then shot herself. And it was really fucked up at the time. I had never known anybody that got shot before. It was, especially someone who got shot by someone else I knew. But I would have all these dreams about him being alive. And then you wake up and like, God damn, it's the weirdest fucking feeling to have a dream about someone that you really love and care about, and then they're gone. And then you're in the dream that you're talking to them, and it's just like the old times. And you're like, man, I didn't really appreciate those fucking old times as much as I do now.
Yeah,
It was a letdown too
odd
when you wake up.
It's so weird though, because like after the dream's done, you wake up, you have the memory of it, so it's almost like you got to hang out with him again.
One more
because it's a new situation.
Yeah.
It's it's very weird. But then you realize it's just manifest in your own head, and they had no input whatsoever. It was just your dumb fucking idea of the person.
Yeah.
I gotta piss.
Yeah, Joe, thank you so much
Yeah,
for
Joe,
calling, man. We
absolutely,
really
man.
appreciate it.
Good talking to you,
I'm
buddy.
coming in next week, man. I'm really looking forward to it more than I gotta come to New York and do some bullshit press for Fear Factor. But the thing to me that was the most important about the trip is that I get to go in and do your show.
Oh, we can't wait.
Yeah,
I'm looking
fuck yeah,
forward to
man. It's
that
been a
more than
while.
Anything else?
Absolutely. All right, Joe.
See you next week, brother.
Thank you,
Joe.
Joe Rogan.
Joe.
Say it, man.
Yeah, we're going to take a break.
Some of the listeners were calling him Darth Rogan.
Yeah, well.
He really. That's what a fucking mixed martial artist breathes like.
He breathes like a bull.
Yeah.
And he should.
Big solid head.
When Chuck was in here,
Liddell, yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's just how a man that could kill you with his hands breathes. That's it.
Or my grandfather. One or the other.
What grandfather?
Huh?
What do you mean your grandfather?
Because old people
My
breathe like
because
that.
my grandfather breathed him.
How do you know your grandfather?
Oh,
What do you mean, how did I know?
shit.
Oh,
you
you
were
doing an
adopted.
adopted joke?
Oh, fuck. By the a funny point, too. Both Bob and Joe.
Yeah.
Right?
What?
Gay?
No.
What? You told him?
What does he do? I don't
You were adopted, right?
Yeah.
But you had stepfather.
Oh,
I had
yeah.
a stepfather.
Oh,
I had two stepfathers and one foster father.
Jesus.
But were you adopted or no?
Hence
Never
the
adopted.
fucking need.
No, never adopted.
Oh, I thought you were adopted.
No, I had two stepfathers and one foster father. And then one real dad that I haven't talked to in 20 years.
Oh, boy.
Do you know how fucking hilarious it is to watch two best friends, like the two of you, one of them go, "Really, Bob? I thought you were adopted." For all
Hash
these...
out something that is so like it's important in life. It should be known like the first week you know each other.
But no,
That's pretty
I've
important.
told him that. I told him. He knows that.
All right, Florentine just goes, that's pretty important.
But I don't remember because I'm just
I
thinking.
told him that.
Yeah.
I've told him that.
I'm just thinking of all the times we've made fun of you for not being Irish. I'm like, oh, I thought you were
No, that's
adopted.
because Quinn says I look like I was my great-great-grandmother was raped on the Khyber Pass.
Oh, Jesus. I remember watching Keith Robert. Actually, one of the first things I ever did in New York was you guys...
Stop pointing your fucking thin Dick Van Dyke finger at me. Oh, you stupid fucking ligaments.
Norton, Bobby, and Keith brought me to open for you guys at a college when I was like a few months into the city. It was one of the first things I ever did. And I was watching them all trash each other outside. Like, oh my, this is the meanest thing I've ever seen in my life. And Bobby's uncle was there. And Keith just goes, God damn it, you're not his uncle. There's a Puerto Rican in this family somewhere. We're going to get to the bottom of it. And I was like, you can talk like that to somebody's uncle? You know what I mean? Like, I thought you had to be respectful of people's families and shit.
Respectful. Nah.
Fucking the funniest thing, we went to a Dunkin' Donuts. They're standing at the counter ordering with some kid. Some 14-year-old girl walks out of the back of the kitchen. She walks up to Keith, and she goes, do you want anything? And Keith just goes, I want you to shut your trap.
I remember that. I remember that.
Bobby ran. I've never seen Bobby embarrassed. He ran out of the Dunkin' Donuts, and he was laughing. He's going, what the fuck's wrong with you, dude? What the fuck is wrong with you?
Fucking Robinson is funny sometimes. Not on stage, but in life.
God damn.
Just what do you think? I want you to shut your trap.
You trap.
But, you know, it's obviously a very, very sad thing to know that you weren't surprised.
That motherfucker. I never literally the only people that know was me and Patrice. My wife doesn't even know. And I felt like shit. But that fucking cocksucker. But I still, you know what the thing is? You get mad at him. And even, you know, we all get mad at each other. I was like, dude, I still love you, you fucking idiot. You fucking, the whole concept of the party was a joke. Because I never had a birthday party. And
so
fucking DeRosa throws his own party for himself once a year for industry.
You make it for industry.
Yeah, you go there. He's not even talking to his friends. Keith wasn't even invited one year. It's just fucking Comedy Central heads. It's my best friend. How did you become friends with him? At one of my birthday parties? Fuck you.
God damn, you might be able to a bar to drink. You make it sound like I'm hanging fucking streamers up and, you know, and putting out a food spread.
Might as well put your fucking resume out, too. Listen, it's a party like Billy Bats.
My party.
Exactly.
Don't get nervous.
We should definitely take a break. Bill Burr is standing by, and others. I want to play the clip Rogan was talking about. You got that, E-Rock?
Oh, the Fox News one?
Fox News thing, no, we usually...
Sam, can you play it off the fucking internet for us?
Yeah.
Sam, get their stat.
Yeah, quick.
Rogan,
this is going to take forever.
Rogan was pointing out a clip that really describes what Patrice is all about, and I want to play that. Most of you have heard this a bunch of times.
It's still great, though.
Yeah, it's worth playing.
Sam's
he was commenting on our suspension for the Homeless Charlie bit when Homeless Charlie was in the studio talking about raping Condoleezza Rice and whatnot.
Right.
And he was on there defending freedom of speech and in his own inimitable style.
Right.
And there was a woman from National Organization of Women on.
Oh, we love those people.
And he just schooled the shit out of her. It was fantastic.
He talked to her the way she should be talked to.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right. He was never back on Fox again after that?
No, because he was so dirty.
That's beautiful.
Another bridge gone.
Right. Is this it?
Nick?
Okay, yeah, just play it as we go to break. Bill Burr next. Stay there.
What's up on the chopping block? XM satellite radio DJs Opie and Anthony, they're under fire now for airing joking comments about raping Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. Will they be the next to go? Is radio cleaning house after the Imus debacle? With me now, New City President Sonia Osorio. She took part in a recent protest calling for radio stations to stop supporting negative language in music and talk radio, and also our favorite stand-up comic, Patrice O'Neill.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Patrice, are O&A next?
I hope not. I wish JB and I was in losing job or Imus. It's funny. This is the thing. I don't know her, but I'm assuming that she has nothing to do with funny. So I'm gonna speak as the expert on funny. Funny people should just be left to trying to be funny.
What if they're not funny?
Then you made a mistake. But how many times has how many unfunny rape jokes lead to rape. Like,
I don't know how many jokes about rape there are.
There's a lot, but your world is not funny. Your world is next on the big story. My world is people trying to be funny.
Well, I mean, you think it's okay to try to make jokes about rape?
I'm diabetic. I make fun of that. I'm a victim. I might lose a toe. But I'm trying to make fun of. I'm trying to make fun of anything I think I can make fun of.
Sonia?
You know, what's happening now is the marketplace is deciding what's appropriate or what's not appropriate. I think the nation is just tired. There's a new mood in the nation.
What nation?
The nation. You know what? We're tired of things that are just
Is this the nation, this paper, and you? I'm not the nation. I'm just speaking for me and funny. You're speaking for the nation, or you're speaking for...
Yeah, you know why? Because I remember 6 years ago doing something against Anthony Opie because they were just so outrageous, and their violent images that they put out to women was just uncalled for. And now I think people...
You think they were trying to be funny?
I think now people in this country
think they were trying to be funny?
Tired. You know what? I don't care if they're trying to be funny.
That's what I'm saying. Why are you in that business?
I've been to your show once, and it wasn't very funny being a woman.
It was
in your
hilarious.
Show, when you talked about...
That's why she doesn't like me. I was in the paper with her, and the joke is hilarious, called The Angry Pirate. And the lady who wrote it in her outrage didn't even know what it meant, and anybody who read it laughed, because they know what funny... You're not living in the context of funny. You're living in the context of fired.
Have every right to be as funny as they want. They can go out and try to be as funny as they want, make as much money being as funny as they want. This is what's happening. There is a change in this country. People are realizing they have an opportunity to speak out, and advertisers are listening. Radio stations are listening.
You're not talking to who I talk to.
And you're not going to get paid as much money anymore.
Sonia and Patrice,
That's
look
what
at
it
this.
is. The marketplace
More
is
CBS
speaking.
radio firings. They've been on a tear lately.
All right.
Are they cleaning house, or is this the PC cops run amok?
You know what it is, John. You know what it is while you're reading that paper. It's the PC cops run amok.
Do you think she's a PC cop?
Of course she is. She has an entire encyclopedia of her stance on it, but it's no passion involved. It's not a real... This is just what she has to say. We are outraged and fired and fired and fired. Name calling. I'm outraged. I am outraged.
You should be.
I am a fool. Now, if I called you a fool,
You know what? People are feeling a new sense of entitlement.
Who are these people
in this country?
Who are the people?
A new
How can
sense
you,
of
Patrice? So
entitlement
here's my question. How can you justify a bad joke, a joke that isn't funny? Oh, wait a minute. Go
ahead.
An attempt that isn't funny, doesn't get any laughs, and is about raping the first black woman to ever become the Secretary of State of the United States.
Don't throw that at me.
Well, why not?
The attempt is what I'm trying to fight for. The joke funny jokes and unfunny jokes are come out of the same birth. That you don't know if anything is going to be funny. You should attempt to be able to make anything funny.
Don't you think a joke about rape is doomed to be not funny?
It's possible, but I've heard them.
You've heard a funny rape joke?
I say a couple. Watch my HBO special. I'm pretty good at it.
Yeah, Patrice says that if you're having sex with a woman, doggy style, and if you hit her in the head just the right time.
No, it's ejaculate in her eye and kick her in the shin, and she walks around like, arg! It's the angry pirate. That's what she was trying to say.
A violent act of hitting her in the back of her head, her body.
It's called the donkey punch.
Which will then...
Why are you laughing? She's outraged. It's called the donkey punch. It's whole humor that she has no clue what it is.
You have the same problem that Opie and Anthony does. You can't say just anything on the air.
You can say anything you want. It might not be funny. You might get in trouble for it, but you should be able to be attempting. And plus, when is a crazy bum going to get an opportunity to rape the president? If the president's wife, John? It was trying to be funny.
All right, Patrice, why aren't I hearing Al Sharpton complain about this thing involving Congress?
Because it wasn't involving young black women.
Well, it's involving a very prominent black woman.
Well, where was she during young black? Everybody has their agenda.
I was there.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. All right, excuse me.
But why am I not hearing from Sharpton?
Because it doesn't concern him. It's not concerning him. It's black. It's, you know, come on now. You know Al Sharpton has his agenda, and it was perfect for Al. Young black women. And now she's representing just women in general. She's not representing the nappy hoe part. She's representing just the hoe. The nappy-headed part, she has nothing to do with. Just the hoe.
Sonia?
You know what? Women have been abused publicly in the media for too long, and people are tired of it. This has been a beautiful response of just the general public saying to advertisers, we're your consumers. We don't want to have to avoid everything in the street. We don't want to have to worry about what radio station we turn on. And there is some really derogatory, violent thing to deal with.
Your information, ma'am, is secondhand from someone making you aware that someone may have said something that you should be upset about. It's a shame. Your constituency, the people you represent aren't all victims in this matter.
Patrice O'Neill, thank you very much. Sonia Osorio, thanks to both of you. Appreciate it. Time for Big Politics.
Sirius XM. You're listening to Opie and Anthony.
All right.
Is that a Gouda cheese?
No, Bob, somebody threw up. Bobby turns every cent into food somehow.
Shit. Bobby had to take one of my Pop-Tarts.
You threw it at him, he caught it, and Pop-Tart went flying everywhere.
Well, that was his teeth. He started eating it.
It is true.
While it was still in the air.
You don't two. He tried to eat like a fucking seal, throwing him a fish.
Can you tell the open micers to stop chatting like we're not on the radio?
That's just me now.
We're on the radio. Stop whispering, shit dicks.
Here's the deal to set the mood here. We got Bob Kelly eating one of my Pop-Tarts. Mm-hmm. We got Colin Quinn has arrived.
Yeah, with his fucking gay coat. He borrowed Mary Tyler Moore's jacket.
Where is that?
Put it on. Show this fucking. Look at the buttons.
It is Mary Tyler Moore's.
Wait for the buttons. He's got fucking wooden buttons.
Is it kind of like military?
No, it's not
got
military.
The military vibe.
Yeah.
No, not really.
Let me see.
It looks like it was going to be a pea coat.
Oh God,
it's kind of a cool coat.
It's not a cool coat.
Oh no, it's those old leather buttons.
Yeah,
Fucking asshole.
Oh my God.
Fucking Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, why don't you go solve a crime in that, you fucking idiot?
It's a belt buckle around the neck, too, man. Colin's trying to own it. Colin's trying to own the coat. And help.
You stepped on your own joke.
We also got Jim Florentine. We got Joe DeRosa, and Kurt Metzger has arrived. So, and Bill Burr waited through the break.
Wow.
Bill, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys. What's going on, man?
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Strange day, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awful. Awful. I think yesterday was, I set the record for laughing and crying. Every time I start crying, I think about something funny said. And I start laughing. It's just awful. It's awful.
Yeah. And
I bring it down. You guys were on a nice roll there, but
no.
We've had.
It's what it is.
It's been all over the place all morning.
It sucks.
It's been all over the place.
And you do. It's like I wasn't able to really watch a lot of the videos that people were posting yesterday because I don't know.
It was tough.
Made me feel weird. It was kind of sad. I tried a couple of times, but it was just like it got too sad. But then you read some of the shit and you start laughing your ass off because you just read it in Patrice's voice, and that got me laughing pretty good.
I started thinking of all this stuff that he did. Do you know one time he had a meeting at Comedy Central? And, you put on your I'm going to get a deal shirt, and you go in there, and you tap dance, and you try to sell your stupid idea for a show. He went in there and spent 45 minutes trashing the executives for putting Mind of Mencia on the air. And he just wouldn't let up. And then that was it. The meeting ended. Like, that was just basically I think he pitched his show in the final 3 minutes.
He got the opportunity to go in there and decided he was just going to bash the show. Oh, man, that's fucking great.
Just kept, and at the end, he pitched his show for like 3 minutes. And I remember asking him why he did it. I go, why would you do that? And he just started laughing. I was thinking about all that stuff. One time Bobby, do you remember the time that comedian came to town? He had the metal hand.
What?
Remember that? Hang on a second. I'm going to the airport. This is my ride. Hold on a second.
Oh.
Hello. Ooh. Okay, all right, thanks. Freaking guy went to south instead of north. Yeah, so this guy comes to town. He was missing his left hand, so he had like one of those 3-pronged left hand things. Everybody sees it. Nobody wants to say anything. And the great thing was it was his left hand, so when you met the guy, you just stuck out your right hand and there was no problem. But everybody's thinking, what happened to his hand, right? So after he meets like 10 comics, he then meets Patrice, and Patrice sees the guy, and when he goes to shake his hand, instead of sticking out his right hand, he sticks out his left hand. And the guy with the fake hand, like just out of instinct, stuck out his left hand and then sort of froze for a second. And then Patrice, with his big, dainty fingers, just grabbed one of the metal tongs and sort of shook it. And there was all this awkwardness, and then Patrice just goes, "What happened to your hand, man?" And like that's why I loved the name of his last special, Elephant in the Room, because that's what he always did.
Yeah.
He always just addressed. You want to sit there and be like, "That's rude, that's insensitive," and then you're like, "Dude, that's exactly what I was thinking. What happened to your hand?"
Yeah.
I know, it's actually psyched that he asked it, and I don't know, man. I'm gonna miss that guy. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's I mean, I've known quite a few people that have left us, but this one is just like
it just hurts.
This
one really hurts.
He's so fucking irreplaceable,
Yeah, no, he's even beyond the description of one of a kind.
Yeah.
One of a kind is almost like hacky at this
That's
point.
too cliche, right?
Yeah, you're right. That's what I tweeted yesterday, you red-headed cocksucker, you. Go fuck yourself, Billy. What was that?
He's making a good point.
Bobby, do you know something? Ever since we started doing these stupid movies and this goddamn book, do you know I now hate the sound of your voice?
That wasn't me, you fucking cocksucker. That was fucking stupid Colin Quinn. You redheaded shit. Was that cocky feature act? No, that was fucking Colin Quinn. You don't recognize that raspy, shitty voice? Hey. No offense.
No, I
I'm
know.
walking through a gate carrying my bags at 5 in the morning out here. Cut me some slack, and I'm on a Droid. I don't have the iPhone, dude.
Attack Colin. I didn't attack you.
How did Bobby get dragged into this?
Bobby was too busy eating. It was Colin
It was
Quinn.
Bobby. Because he said it was a hack line. He thought it was Bobby, so it was mine.
Huh?
What'd you say?
Nothing.
You trashed me, and I missed it.
No, you trashed me. You called me a hack for saying he's one of a kind.
Well, that was a really great, deep sentiment.
No, Colin, you're so old, you're grandfathered into using that expression.
Yeah, and then you followed up with Patrice was aces in your book.
I thought he was just swell.
He's in cat's pajamas.
Colin said 5 words since he's come in here. He's just getting shit on.
As he should. As he should with that fucking stupid gay Pico.
I don't know what the problem is. It's a lovely jacket,
It's
Bobby.
not a lovely. It's a lovely jacket if you're an 85-year-old woman.
Where you going, Bill?
Going to go do some gig in Western Massachusetts. Every time I go, I still get nervous when I perform out there because a long time ago in Lee, Massachusetts, exit 2 off the Mass Pike, somebody threw a dinner roll at me when I was performing and doing stand-up in some restaurant.
Oh, shit. That's pretty degrading.
That's my fantasy. I'd like to get paid with those.
Yeah. Have all 5 courses thrown at you.
Jesus, Joe. Just like that a little too much there, Bob.
Why wouldn't that fucking Arab like it?
I like the fact that Bill Burr secretly hates your voice, and that came out. That makes me really happy.
I know, it really did. Billy's real feelings come out.
Yeah.
Holy shit, he snapped, right?
Yeah.
All right, or maybe not.
Ever since we started doing stuff together, we never call for fun anymore. It's always like, yeah, we got to edit this thing. I hate you guys.
What are you doing? A book on tape or something?
No, we're writing a book, stupid.
Oh, sorry.
Like you should have.
Yeah, I know.
You should write a book about your fucking.
I'll do
your,
that.
Oh, your midlife crisis.
My I had midlife crisis going on at 12.
Yeah.
I swear.
Well, I hope that Dummy wants to buy a jet ski for his pool. Come on over, guys. How many parties can you have? It's never going to fill the hole. Fucking asshole. Just get old gracefully, get a pair of glasses, and borrow Fag's coat.
Well, you know, I'm not sure I like my new nickname.
Yeah. You don't like that one, Colin?
Fag's coat.
Yes, Jimmy.
It is. If you're writing a book with Bobby, I hope that someone is doing the spell check, because it was very sad yesterday. We were all telling each other before the news broke.
God.
And, you know, it's always nice when Matt Frost called me, but when you get a text from Bob Kelly, can you read that right there under the photo?
I said he wished he could. You can't. Get his glasses.
Oh, God, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Can I
read it?
Yeah.
Can I guess it?
Wait.
Wow, you're squinting bad.
Wow. Anthony.
Get
Boy,
LASIK.
Anthony, we're on
Jim.
radio. They don't know you can't see.
I
Fake
can't
it.
see.
Wait, you
Can
can't
I-
read that?
No, I can. I have to squint, though.
You want me to?
Really bad.
Yeah, just
I put off
right under the picture.
I put off glasses for
Under the
3
picture.
years.
Jesus
I've been
Christ.
squinting. It just hurts.
Yeah,
He passed, Jim?
yeah. But do you understand what he wrote there?
No, don't.
Yeah.
Let's see if he does.
P-A-S-T.
Jesus Christ.
He wrote he passed.
Yeah, no,
I'm sorry that our friend passed away, and I fucked up on spelling, you nerd.
No,
I
but-
wish I met you back in high school. I would have beat the fuck out of you and took your money.
This is not. You're not.
Jeez, Bob.
This is not putting the I
just
before
a
E.
little Norton going, you spelled that wrong. Shut up.
It's a basic.
Oh, right.
Just because Patrice died, that doesn't explain you being monumentally stupid. That's not the excuse. What did he die? Did he take your fucking brain with him?
It would be like pass. Like P-A-S-S.
No, the Keith didn't do it to him.
E-D.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pass.
He wrote it as intense.
I wrote it on the iPhone. The iPhone fucked
You
it
could
up.
blame the iPhone.
autocorrect.
Yeah.
I do that sometimes. I'm like, fucking spell check.
It did
Don't
fuck
autocorrect.
up.
iPhone.
Well, here it is. I get the call from Matt. I wrote. I turned on to make sure that he knew, and I just wrote for him because I didn't know if he knew because he was on the. I don't know if he answered his phone. I wrote that, and it just did that, and I was in bed, and what am I going to do? But I fucked up. I apologize, Jim, for not spelling it correctly.
I'm not. No. I'm very grateful it happened. It was my one laugh of the morning. I was like, oh, thank God, this idiot is still himself.
This is fucking mean.
You know, in defense of Bob, he's become a way better speller. I remember way back in the day, he was sending me an email, and he called me a faggot, and he spelled it F-A-G-I-T.
Oh, no.
I was trying to say it like spelling it phonetically because it was with an accent. Faggot.
I didn't watch
Bobby,
it.
spell phonetically.
F-I-N.
Spell phonetically. Go fuck yourself.
Do you remember that dude, that treatment? Remember you had me look at your treatment, and I tried to trash you about your. This is hilarious. The it was unbelievable. The spelling, like it was disturbing.
Right.
And I go, Bob, Bobby, your spelling is crazy. He goes, so. That's all.
I didn't go to school, Kurt. I didn't go to school.
But how about, can we just stop and focus for 1 second? The fact that you, insecure, fucking lame ass, gave Kurt your treatment to look over.
A guy you just called an open micer about 3 seconds ago.
Well, look, Kurt,
And it was like years ago.
Kurt is an open micer, but he's a writer. He's a good writer.
Thanks,
Kurt's a
Bobby.
great writer.
I can spell it.
What was it?
You can spell that.
What was it?
It's called I'm Finished, right?
Oh, yeah, that thing. Yeah.
How'd you spell that?
Yeah. Fucking ROBERTKELLY.
Was that the name of the pilot or things you've never said at a dinner table?
That's it? Just one? That's it?
That's too good.
That's it? Just one?
That's a home run.
We're not
really?
like Rich Voss.
That's
We
a
don't
fucking
get greedy
home
and try to
run.
pile on and bomb.
Yeah, that's true.
That's one. You always get. I always like when Voss is here because he'll always end the fucking fun.
Oh, yeah.
He gets greedy.
First of all, there's no second of all.
We were trying to tell him last night how dumb he is. And the difference, he goes, "You're dumber than me." I'm like, I'm not dumber than you because I know I'm dumb. I admit that I can't spell. I know I'm stupid. You think you're smart. He said on his podcast, put the head speakers on. He's talking about headphones.
The head speakers.
He called them the head speakers. Bonnie, put the head speakers on. And Bonnie just went, head speakers, Rich?
Really?
Yeah, because he tried to blaze past it, and Bonnie goes, head speakers? Are we gonna go back to that for a minute, Rich? Are we gonna talk about head speakers? He is the dumbest fuck.
I am fully aware that I am stupid.
Yeah.
In many areas, but I know
I
certain
don't like
things.
what Bobby's doing right now. This is like when somebody blows the game and before the press trashes them, they go, I take full responsibility.
Very good.
Yep, that's exactly what he's doing.
Yeah, Bobby, geez.
Getting
ahead of the
well,
story.
when you're right, Bill. Why don't you shut your face? I hope your phone dies.
Bill, anything else on Patrice? Any stories? I mean, you guys started together a long time ago, man.
God, I don't know. No, because then I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. It's just too fucking sad.
Isn't it?
Just, I can't. I just, I don't know that I'll be able to wrap my head around him not being. All I can say is I'm psyched he got to do your show because your fans got to get a glimpse of what it was like to hang out with him. Because, you go on there, obviously he wasn't doing his act. And just really seeing, like, how that guy on stage and off was just, he was just the funniest fucking guy I ever met.
Yeah. There's literally, like, days and days of material that could be played
From the show,
of him just hanging out and bullshitting about everything. People are...
That bit you guys did, sorry to interrupt, that bit you guys did, the up and down game when Patrice laughed.
Oh, yeah. That's...
Like that,
Well, you know...
from his soul. I thought he was going to pass out. Like, I used to watch that thing like 5 times in a row by myself, and I would be crying, laughing.
Yeah.
You can't not laugh watching that, yeah.
The
When
thing...
he gets up and he's walking out of the studio still laughing, the door closes, and you can still hear him laughing.
Through a soundproof door.
I remember I couldn't wait to show Patrice what we learned that Bobo could do. Because at that point, we saw Bobo do that a bunch of times, but we knew Patrice would bring it to a whole new fucking level.
That's fucking
And
great.
we were so excited, like, Patrice, wait till you see what we got for you today.
And I never expected that reaction. I knew he would enjoy it, but I
Right.
never expected just that complete breakdown of control.
Oh, yeah.
Laughing.
Yeah. He was
crying.
doubled over doing an old man shuffle out the door because he could not even hold himself up. He was laughing so hard.
Yeah.
No, my favorite part is Jim never breaks character and just keeps going.
Yeah.
Keeps going. Start talking about the Mets. I never would have been able to hold it together. When
Yeah.
he started repeatedly screaming, "Oh my God! Oh my God!" That's the funniest. That's the funniest thing ever.
Watching him, what's great too is when you watch him shake when he's about to lose it, and you watch him. He's sitting in the chair and he's smiling, and then you just see his body losing control. He starts to like shake.
For the people who don't know, Bobo, he would take his pants off and he would get hard if we talked about sex. But as soon as we started talking about the Mets, it would instantly go soft. It was the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
And he never knew what we were doing. He's such an idiot.
Yeah.
And so Jimmy, would go back and forth and watch this thing get hard, get soft.
Yeah,
get
talking
hard,
about her big juicy tits. And he'd go like, yeah, and he would put his hands together and grind his hands.
Right.
And his cock would be rock hard. And I would go, but really, I mean, what are the Mets going to do about right field? I mean, it's not going well. And he would go, well, they got to get a draft pick. And he would just start talking about the Mets, and his dick would go soft.
Wow. Like within seconds, though. Within seconds.
Have you seen the clip, Carl?
No. Well, the
No,
clip
I've never
doesn't.
seen it either. I gotta
The
see
clip
this.
doesn't do it justice because we had to hide the whole.
I'd
the
like to
whole
build up
fact.
to that and start with like Louis Pasteur and his experiments. Work our way up to Bobo.
Bobo's
losing
magical
his
dick.
I don't think the actual clip does it justice because we had to hide Bobo's
Right.
dick for the YouTube and all that shit.
But the laugh is
the laugh is
censorship,
just
man.
contagious. Fucking
Censorship.
Yeah, no, that's one of those laughs where even if you didn't know him, you're just laughing at how hard somebody's laughing. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody laugh that hard.
No, fucking.
And he had the
Great.
greatest laugh, so you just combine the two.
Oh my God! Everyone in the room would be laughing just as hard as him.
Why does
we would
Opie
follow
have
his lead?
Why does Opie have a fucking coat thing? What does he get to hang his coat and hat up, and you guys don't?
Do you know what a pain in the ass it was to get that coat rack put in
why do you
here?
have a
It was
coat
for
rack?
everyone.
There's only two.
Everyone?
There's
There's
two
two
fucking
prongs
things.
on it.
Everyone.
Who's going to walk behind you and hang their jacket?
I asked for a goddamn coat rack.
You put it up right behind you. Your stuff's up nice and neat. These fucking scumbags have to look at his all in his chair.
I'm not even wearing one
He doesn't even
today.
have a coat because he doesn't like. He can't hang it.
I know it's mild.
Hey, Colin, you want to hang your jacket where Rhoda hangs hers?
Colin has a gay coat. Your coat really does stink.
Jesus, Joe.
Just makes Rhoda made me laugh really hard.
I like how Bob Kelly got
Wait, hold on 1 second.
Oh, fuck, I was just lining up.
Oh, go ahead.
No, forget it. Now it's over.
Go ahead,
It's
Tony.
okay, Colin.
What were you going to say?
No, the moment's passed.
No, it hasn't. Go ahead, try it again. If it bombs, so what? Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm not going to
say
do
what
it. No,
I'll say what I was
stupid.
going to say when I ruined.
Go ahead.
I don't like the fact that DeRosa used the alternative comedy. Rhoda really made me laugh. Fuck you.
You didn't say that, did you?
He did.
No.
He said
when
it.
Jimmy
He's
said,
having a nice, honest laugh. He goes, Rhoda really made me laugh.
Rhoda did it for him.
Shut up,
The
Joe.
word row.
Joe's only upset because I'm going to ruin his opening status.
Oh, wait. What, Bill?
Bill, what'd you say?
On my awful cell phone, I heard Joe say that, and it fucking annoyed me. Fuck everybody.
Thanks, Billy.
Billy.
all right, well,
Boy, that turned.
fuck you, cunts.
God damn it.
All right, there. Why don't we let Billy Burr go?
It's up to him. You want to go, Bill?
He's at the airport, right?
Yeah, I got nothing left. Feel the trash and coming my way, so why don't I hang up?
It is true. You know it's coming.
The winds have changed. You can tell.
I feel radio pounding. I can smell them when they're coming.
Yeah.
See you, buddy.
See you,
Bye,
Bill.
Bar.
Thanks, man.
See you, man.
See you, Bill.
See you guys in a few days.
See you later.
Even Piers Morgan had something to say about Patrice.
Yeah, and
you want to play this clip?
Gets it all wrong.
Did you hear the local clips? You guys would appreciate. I should play it for them.
Yeah.
The Fox 5 clip first. Colin, did you hear this yet?
No.
Oh God.
This was the only laugh I had yesterday. It was Fox 5 here in New
Was
York.
it, what's his face? Greg Kelly?
Huh?
Gutfeld?
No, Kelly.
Who's Greg
Local
Kelly?
guy. I don't know.
Local
Entertainment
guy.
reporter
Go
for
ahead.
Fox 5.
No, he's somebody else.
I mean, it's sad. It's a 20-second obit, but listen to the end of this thing.
Sad news tonight from the entertainment world. Comedian Patrice O'Neal has died. O'Neal died this morning from complications from a stroke he suffered last month. The Boston native appeared in September's Comedy Central's roast of Charlie Sheen, where his struggle with diabetes was a punchline for many jokes. O'Neal was a well-known presence on talk shows in the stand-up industry and was a frequent guest on the Opie and Anthony radio show. He was 14 years old.
14. Come on.
Patrice was 14?
14.
I thought he was older.
Can you believe that?
That's an amazing career for a 14-year-old.
That's fucking prodigy.
Jesus.
What'd you say?
He was the Doogie Howser of comedy.
What did
What's
the rest
funny?
say?
We were talking yesterday about the roast and how he was all the jokes about diabetes and. I was saying how like 18 different people tweeted that it should have been me. To me, you know, why wasn't it you? It should be you.
I texted you that.
We were just forwarding that goes to you, Colin.
And then Amy Schumer said she got like 100 and something. I hope you get ovarian cancer because of what she did the roast. So like, you know what? Should die, bitch. You know.
Dude, on that, I wrote for that roast, and it was so hard to come up with shit to make fun of Patrice because that's all you could get him on was he has diabetes or he looks like a gorilla. Like there was no
Jesus Christ.
But that was the only. That was the only thing. Like
I think we just found the eulogy writer. The next day.
But seriously, there was no like.
Seriously?
There was no. There was no real things to make fun of him about. It was hard to write jokes about him, so everybody wrote about that shit. You know what I mean? Like nobody had.
He's still trying to be serious. Kurt, shut up. You called him a gorilla. Stop.
I didn't.
You called him a gorilla.
Amy Schumer did.
And you exposed yourself as a horrible hack that can only think of two subjects, and now all the anger towards Amy is going to be focused on you for the next 10 years.
It's not going to be.
Yeah.
There was. He was hard to hit with jokes.
He's at Muppet Eyebrows on fucking Twitter.
Shut
up, Joe. Jesus, Joe. God. Kurt's not taking his shit. I love it.
Beat up Joe.
Kurt's gonna use those fucking huge rape hands. Choke Joe's little fucking.
Joe's got great little raping tits. Look at those little sweet. I'm gonna pump you.
You're gonna punch me off the love seat back here.
Amy's here.
Speaking of Amy Schumer.
God damn, is she looking good?
Yeah, she
always
does.
does.
She looks
So
hot in grief.
talented.
She looks hot in grief. Yeah. Guys, I gotta get out here. Actually, I gotta go.
All right, good.
Bobby?
She'll take your seat.
I'll see you guys later.
All right, Bobby. Thank you for coming in.
Bye, Bobby.
Take it easy, Bobby. Come break a leg.
Hi, Amy.
Amy.
Hey.
How are you?
Take Bobby warmed up the chair for you. I'm sure it's sweaty.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Hi, Amy.
So Kurt writes all your jokes?
Yeah.
That's what he was just saying.
That's right, just the ones that get me in trouble.
I go. Amy's coat is more manly than Colin's. It really is.
It's in my lovely coat today.
Well, look at it.
Amy, what do
You want
think?
to take a look at his coat?
P for pussy.
I think
Wow.
Colin's going for the
You're like
distinguished.
Paddington Bear.
Right, you're a distinguished gentleman's coat.
Yeah.
That's what he's going for. What do you think?
Gentlemen.
Yeah, he's definitely hitting the nail on the head there.
Show with a nice collar buckle.
Yeah.
It does. It has got a collar
It's a
buckle.
handy ball gag.
No
buckle.
longer a man.
You guys really should switch coats when we're done here today.
Yeah. Do
Why are you
mind?
holding your coat? Because everyone asked me to show it to Amy. I was just displaying it. I was doing what I was
Colin, you
told.
want me to hang up the coat?
You think someone's going
I
to
was
steal it?
wondering why in the middle of this, like, trashing, Norton just sitting there scowling at me.
He was
like, what's his fucking problem, man?
He was waiting his turn. He was.
But you know what Billy was
revving
saying
up.
about Patrice?
Yeah.
I was thinking that just reminded me when we started doing the show, and before we did Tough Crowd, we did it on NBC a couple of times. And I remember I was always like, "Oh, don't leave him alone." You know, it was like so new to the business. It was like the only thing he'd ever had, and I knew, like, don't leave him alone with any of these fucking NBC executives.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And then I remember one time just walking in it, and it was like a soundproof office. Like every time I left him alone with Lauren, anybody, something horrible would happen. But just a soundproof office, and it was like some guy from the West Coast was in town. And it was just him and the guy on the West Coast. And he was sitting there, and I looked over at the guy, and he had this horrified look on his face. And Patrice was talking as if, yeah, a couple of guys having a conversation. And I just walked in, and I heard, like, pussy and bitches. Like, he was just, like, spouting to this, like, white guy in his 50s in a fucking suit. But it's just like as if he's having a conversation with fucking, you know, Will at the cellar. Yeah. And it's just like, and the guy just had this horrified, like, his face was pasty white. He gave no respect.
No. That's
what he would do, though.
Yeah.
That's a pretty accurate description. He gave him no respect.
Yeah.
People that didn't deserve it.
Another
No.
big producer once. I remember at the cellar, this guy was doing like a movie, and it was like, "Hey Patrice," like, and I thought I still said there had to be a slight scintilla of non-destructiveness. I go, Patrice, this guy's doing it, and the guy goes, "Hi, I heard a lot about you." And Patrice is at the bar at the cellar, and he turns around like fucking royalty, like this, and then just turns away.
A little dainty handshake.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. He drove me out to one of Ant's barbecues one time. He was like, I'll pick you up. And I was so touched that he was giving me a ride that I spent 2 hours making him these rap CDs. I made him like 3.
What are you, a girl?
Thank you.
Oh my God, Colin, give him your coat. Give him your coat.
Did you talk in between songs, too?
A personal story before every song.
Wow, Joe.
I made him 3 rap CDs. I was like, these are songs he probably doesn't have. He'll
Now,
appreciate
Jerry,
this.
I imagine the band striking up the music.
Oh, what a
Oh, geez.
Wow,
Christ, a mixtape for Patrice.
Trying to do this now.
I can't.
What were some of the songs on there?
It was all rap songs.
Give me a couple.
They were all like.
I Need
like
Love
you're gonna
by
know any
Cool
of it.
J.
Yeah, I Need Love by Cool J.
Doing it.
Yeah, doing it well. Hey Love. Yeah.
You can do
Some
it,
Boys
put your
to
back
Men.
into it.
It's so hard to say goodbye to yesterday.
No.
No, I made him like. I was like, dude,
God,
I
I
appreciate
can't
you giving me a ride, man. I know you're not going to take gas money. I made you these. I thought you might enjoy these for when you're
He would have
driving
took
around.
gas money.
Yeah.
He He goes, all right, like that, right?
Because you just came out of the closet to him, dude. That's why.
That's a long ride.
Oh, God damn.
He put every I swear to God, every CD, he put it in back to back, and he just sat there, 2 seconds of each song, you go.
Oh, shit. Next.
Literally through each CD, and he goes, I mean, Joe, goddamn, I mean...
You didn't appreciate that
I appreciate the gesture and all, I guess, but...
You recognize that you're a white rap historian? Wow.
Yeah, I think there were...
This is twin hype, Patrice, in the 90s.
I think there was... He called me cracker a few times in between songs. And, but the funniest is that when he found out I was Egyptian... He'd call me up, like, on Thanksgiving. He'd be like, Joe, you want to come over for Thanksgiving? I go, I can't. I'm doing stuff with my family. He goes, you know what, Joe? I'm tired of you pretending you're white. And he'd go, everybody knows you're a dirty nigga African, just like the rest of us.
I remember when I sent Patrice a text that I was having a kid. He calls up. I see him call him. I think he's going to graduate. He's like, but the first thing he says, please tell me the bitch is white. That's all he said.
Oh, shit.
I'll never forget, I was at the comic strip Christmas party, and I brought this girl in. She was really hot, and Patrice is just looking her up and down. He goes, you got this in the bag? I go, yeah. He goes, so I could say whatever I want? I go, yeah. He goes, you sure? I don't want to ruin it for you.
Why would you say yeah? Why would you say yeah?
I was like, no, it's fine. So he just went over. He goes, you like this guy? And she's like, yeah, he's really funny. He's like, do you know his opening joke is the difference between alcohol and marijuana? You realize that? She's like, yeah, he's really funny. Yeah, I know that one. That's good. You realize he does voices of puppets on TV. That's like my favorite show. And he goes, you're just a dumb bitch. And just walks away. And the girl's like, how can you say he's your friend? I'm like, he's joking. She's like, how is that a joke? He just called me a dumb bitch.
Holy fuck.
Oh, Jesus
fucking A.
He ended a couple of my relationships early.
Yeah.
He did, yeah.
Early.
Just, you'd see him get that look in his eye, like, and you didn't know what mood Patrice was going to be, and he could be the most lovely, like, little angel, or just, he would just slowly turn. It was like slow-mo, and I saw him sizing up the dude I was with, and I'm like, no, running over. It was too late. Just trash this guy's life. The guy, I don't think he ever got an erection again. I'm serious.
I went to a dinner party one time. We used to have the same manager, and they invited us to this dinner party. I showed up with a second date with the girl, and I was trying so hard to impress her. I walk in with her. Patrice goes, hey, what's up, Joe? Who's this? And I go, it's Melissa. And he goes, hey, Melissa, did you fuck him yet? Oh, did you fuck Joe yet? And she goes, no. And he goes, you should fuck him. He's a good dude. Fuck this dude. I'm like, all right, let's have hors d'oeuvres now.
Obviously, Amy Schumer is here, and now Louis C.K. has entered the studio.
Hey, Louis.
Morning, guys.
Hello.
How you doing, man?
It's like everybody that Twittered yesterday.
Yeah.
Here.
I didn't
Amazing.
tweet.
You didn't tweet?
No. I always feel phony.
Phony, really?
Well, the thing, my heart goes out. To
Well, yeah, it
family
depends on.
and
Well, if you word it like
prayers.
Colin, then it comes off as insensitive and hack.
No,
Put
it's
on
not.
Colin's coat and say it.
No, it's not that it's phony at all. It's just to me, you know.
It's just not your thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I never tweet about anything, and so.
And all of a sudden, you're gonna tweet about something like,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why I don't do it. Because I don't love anybody that much. I don't care.
Wait till you see Colin's coat.
I made a witty remark.
Oh boy, he's
But
defending it.
at the beginning of my witticism, I happened to throw in Patrice's one of a kind. So, you know,
Yeah.
he kind of let it
One of a
slide.
kind.
Right.
So then
They
Bill
broke
Burr
the
just calls
mold.
on the phone, and he's from the airport. Mm-hmm. And goes, yeah, I don't want to leave any tweet like some one of a kind, some hack fucking quote. And I thought at first he saw my quote and was busting my balls, but he was just saying it.
He really meant
even
it.
worse.
Even worse, he really meant it, not knowing what you wrote.
Terrible.
How about the fact that he didn't know what you even wrote?
No.
Yeah.
No idea.
That's
And he didn't
insensitive.
bother to investigate the full thing that I wrote. That's what hurt the most.
True. He just picked out the one hack.
One,
you know, showing your age part.
I told my kids this morning about Patrice, and you know, and I listened to because I told them I'm going here afterwards, and then all his friends are going to be here, and so I turned it on, and there's fucking is he here still? Bobby? Did he leave?
Bobby.
Bobby's
Yeah.
just left.
Yeah.
I turn on it, and Bobby's he's not even saying anything. He's just and the fuck we're all at the fucking cellar last night, and he's just telling a story. He could be saying anything. He's like, we're all at the fucking cellar, and fucking, what's his name is there? And fucking, he's not upset. He's not, it's just this shit that comes out of his fucking mouth.
I think he just caught a popcorn.
And my
in his
daughters
mouth.
are 6 and 9, and I'm going, I'm trying to ride the fucking volume.
Ride the volume down, yeah.
And they can't enjoy people's emotions about their fucking past friend because of this. Fucking! And so they go like, why does he, they had to ask, like, why does this person, because it sounds crazy.
Yeah, of course.
If you don't listen to it all the time, it's like, what's wrong with this? It's beyond Tourette's. It's like...
That's so odd, because here, well, when he was here talking into the mic, you don't realize it because
he says
here.
fuck a lot.
But I guess
Bobby
if you're listening to it on the radio,
it's
you
insane.
really, especially with children.
Right. But I explained to them that Patrice and Bobby and I came from Boston, and that there was, I told them what it's like to do comedy there, that there's drunk Irish people. I'm teaching them stereotypes. The Irish Bostonians get wasted, and they sing na 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 na, hey, you got to chant it off stage. And so people had different ways to survive that. And Bobby's was, I explained to the kids the difference between, like, you're trying to tell a story. So I went to the store, and the guy there was really mean to me. Nobody's listening. They're throwing stuff at you. But you go, I went to the fucking store, and the fucking guy was a fucking asshole. Like, it's a way of charging through the shit. Like, that's what turns guys like that.
Oh, shit.
And then Patrice was just this a mountain that sat on stage. He was just a mountain. Whole other approach to being listened to by those audiences.
Yeah.
Bostonians terrified of giant black men.
Yeah, just a huge presence.
Did you start out with him
on the stage?
No, he came up after I'd left Boston, and then he just showed up here as this Boston, young, enormous Boston guy.
Bigger than life. Easiest.
Yeah, he didn't have to move around on stage or anything.
No,
he just
so last
stand
time
there
I
and
saw
fucking-
him on stage, we did the Nasty Show in Chicago at the Vic Theater, and it was me and him and Nick DiPaolo. Were you on that show? I don't remember if you were.
What year was it? I did that with Geraldo and Patrice like a year and a half ago. I don't know if I was on that one.
But he closed the show. I hosted it, and he went on last. And he was, I mean, it's just, he would just stand there and fucking, he was really starting to hit a stride, too. He was getting great. I mean, he's always been one of my favorite comedians, like always in like the top 3 since I first saw him. Wow. But in the last few years, he just started to get great. Like, he figured, every comedian hits some point where they figure out their thing. Like, they do the Hellraiser box, they click it right, and it starts fucking, everybody starts coming out of the doors, Pinhead and everybody, and he just hit that. I mean, just that last special was incredible. He was just starting to figure out how to make his thing really work.
Yeah, but, and off stage, to be able to do that on stage is fantastic, but then off stage, just to hang out and bullshit about stuff and make it genuinely funny. Any fucking subject that would come up in here when he was sitting here, he had
something.
He had at least a half hour on it.
I was trying to explain him to my kids because I want them to understand what this stuff means. Besides that, he was a big black guy and he said crazy shit. I had to I'm explaining him. I had to say that he was black at some point. Like, it didn't matter, but at some point I had to say he was a huge black guy. Like, it didn't actually, wasn't material to anything I had to say about him.
But you feel compelled to describe him like that. Yeah.
And also the life lesson that you got to fucking take care of yourself. But
yes, true.
You know, which is makes me angry at him. But it's just that's the biggest substance abuse problem amongst black people is cherry coke. But it's still the biggest killer. But I told them, I thought of a bit that he did here that I was able to explain to them, and for a 6- and 9-year-old to grasp it was kind of weird, but they got it because of his wording, which was about Plaxico or whatever the guy's name was who shot himself.
Plaxico Burress.
Yeah, the thing that he said about how his, he was rich now, living in a mansion, and he had a choice in life. He could hang out with rich white guys and play golf, or hang out with black guys that he grew up with, but if he who are fun. But in order to do that, he had to carry a gun because those guys are fucking stupid. And they all carry weapons. So it was like, live amongst your own, but he's not stupid. He's rich now. So he had to carry a weapon in order to hang out with his own people. That's such an acute observation. That's where he would find these like cracks in the
little things.
Oh,
Yeah,
my
no one else
God.
was thinking
And my
about.
kids were howling. They got why that was funny.
Wow,
There would be shit that like I'd pondered for years, and when the subject came up, I felt all good about being able to discuss it and talk about it. And then I was saying before, in one sentence, he'd wrap it up. And be like, how did I never see that?
And he'd close the book on it.
Yeah, done.
He'd say,
Here's
that's it.
Here's what it is.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that's where everyone now has to refer to Patrice versus the people.
Yes, he said president.
Patrice versus the people for racial harmony.
No, and I remember like the famous thing of him going on whatever it was on Fox News.
Yeah, we just played that. Yeah,
he there's a woman who actually dresses up to go and protest a rape joke, and he makes her laugh at a rape joke.
She laughed at it. She absolutely did.
That's the power of what he did.
Yeah,
She couldn't deny it. This woman whose whole life is, I'm going to go act outraged.
Right.
Yeah. And she had to go, shit,
that's
funny.
That's funny.
Fuck,
Blooper
that's
spots.
funny. I wonder what she's doing now. That couldn't have been good when she went back to the office.
Changed her path.
Yeah,
She's doing
really like to know
comedy, all rape jokes.
He was a guy who forced people. He also didn't take any easy roads himself. Like everybody does some bullshit version of themselves. Everybody does. I do. I have like a bunch of jokes that I know are just there because old fat, overweight, middle-aged dad. Like I got a bunch of those that I'm
ace in the hole.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But he has.
I was going to say he forced you to be honest, man.
Yeah, and he didn't do that himself. Like he was such an atypical. The first thing he ever did that I saw that made me go, "This guy is special," was his bit about how he loves the Beatles.
Yeah.
And the pressure as a black guy to have certain trappings, and he says, "I love the Beatles, but I can't." And he do it, this visual of him riding around in a Cadillac. We all live in a yellow submarine. Look in the hood. What's up, G? Yellow submarine. Yellow submarine. But that's not your typical big black guy bit.
No. We got into so many great racial conversations on this show.
Oh yeah,
and he just slammed me, and but the great thing was the second the show ended, we'd be walking down the sidewalk going to the parking garage, and he's just hey, how's your pool? What's that like your pool and shit? That cool?
No, my favorite part of being
so
on the
fucking
show,
cool.
I loved being on when he was on, because he'd get, we would lock horns on stuff and get, I told him once I wasn't attracted sexually to black women, and he tested me for 2 hours, saying that meant I'm gay. He's like, it means I'm gay. And he said, so he would go and he started doing this bit where he'd be like, please bring up, and it was like a lawyer asking for... He was like, please bring up fatbooty.com. Sites that he knew of. He's like, really nothing? There's nothing that you can, you know what, bring up? Yeah.
Look at that, that's juicy.
Pissing on blacktits.net. And he'd come up and he'd go, this? You don't like this?
References, man.
But we would go at it here. And then, we'd walk. The best part, though, was walking down to the subway with him. And then we'd stand on 6th Avenue and 7th or 57th and just stand there for 4 hours and just talk.
Oh, fuck yeah.
And he'd say openly sexual things to every woman that walked by, and they would all smile.
You look delicious.
Yeah, he's just like, look at you with those pants. Ass, what kind of panties you got on? Pink. Bye. Good morning.
He would hold court on a street corner.
Yeah, when we would do the walkover at the old station,
right?
And we'd be walking to XM. And Patrice would just stop and talk to any girl that was walking, and they would engage him.
Yes.
They would talk to him. And it's like, why aren't they running?
He would disarm you because he was funny and silly and he wasn't threatening. And they
Right.
were just, looking at him,
But
you
on
would think he would be threatening.
Right. I mean, just his physical presence would be threatening, and the ability.
Maybe that's what it was. It was the relief. It's like, oh
Yes,
no,
right.
here's this black guy.
He's not
but he's
gonna
got kind of a
mug
sweet voice. I want to hug him now.
We were at the
'cause
comic
I'm
strip
not
one
afraid.
time, and there was a girl he liked at a Christmas party, and he's trying to play hard to get. He's like, I'm not going to talk to her. And he didn't talk to her, and she didn't come over. And I said, you fucking idiot. You think that you're being hard to get. She's happy you're not talking to her. She doesn't like you. He really thought that she was being intrigued by his evasiveness. He was just happy that this fucking fat creep was leaving her alone.
The ability to diffuse his physical presence with something so fast, like that quickly when he started
Little
talking to you,
words.
is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, because you would just look and go, big black man, must be afraid, must cross street.
He
but
was an empathetic person, too.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
yeah.
what made him a great comic, is that he saw, he had insight because he was empathetic. But he was a guy who would, like, you talk to him for 5 minutes, he'd start asking you about your life. And
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
going on
Every
with this
single
and that.
time.
Hey, you like your truck?
Yeah.
Be talking about my truck and stuff. Yeah, I got mine. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, really? Where is this conversation going?
You knew it wasn't a conversation. He was basically fishing for information, and when he was done, he was just going to walk away or get off the phone. It wasn't like, I really want to know about your truck. It was, I need a piece of this and a piece of that, and then I'm done with you.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Gonna put on my bowler hat and go.
Yeah, Mr. Cotton Club.
He had a lot of looks.
Oh, fuck.
Remember, he pulled off the Pink Panther pink shirt.
How we didn't
the fuck-
rip him apart
We
for
tried,
that.
too, man.
Yeah, he was wearing a Pink
bright
Panther
pink shirt with the Pink Panther on there.
What the fuck? Only he could get away with that.
Holy
Walking
fuck.
in here with that shit on.
It had the Pink Panther on it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It had, what? Sequins on
Oh,
it,
with
too.
sequins and glitter and... Oh,
Holy
what the fuck he was trying to pull off with that one.
We tried. we didn't get the best of him that day.
Dude, one of the funniest days in here ever was he was in here and we started talking about food from around the country, and he started trashing every city's food. And he's going, Chicago deep dish pizza stinks. It fucking stinks. And the phones are just fucking lighting up.
The whole world is hating on him.
Yeah, Texas barbecue. Oh, we got the best barbecue. Fuck your barbecue. Fucking.
You took them all on, though, man.
Oh my God, it was hilarious.
Fuck yeah. So many good fucking...
But it's like I was saying, like every subject we came up with, half
a
hour.
twist.
When one of the funniest things was when we were talking about the cruise ship deaths, and how it's just so easy to kill your significant other on a cruise ship. They circle around 3 times and then leave the scene of the crime.
You just got to push them overboard.
In
No
a
evidence.
giant ocean, and he like took it the extra step to do the Rasta man selling rock coats to your significant other. Buy a rock coat, man, and you put it on and push your loved one over the edge, and they just sink right to the bottom. Fucking hilarious.
They even did that to Bin Laden. That's even how they got rid of him.
Get rid of him. You're never going to find him. It's the ocean.
The ocean.
Yeah. But people were bringing up so many things, and there's just, like I said, literally, if you strung them back-to-back days worth of shit, that is just material that isn't stuff on stage. It's... You know, it's just conversation.
Most of the stuff he didn't even do in his act.
No.
Right.
It's just him
Well, that's
talking.
the beauty of it. I mean,
Great.
not to kiss your asses, but that's the beauty of you guys. Most of the stuff you do on our show, you don't do on stage.
Yeah.
Kurt only does material in here.
Yeah.
That's all he does.
I only talk about Joe's fucking little fat tits on my acts. And I see no reason to change it just because I'm on the radio.
That's the name of your new album, Joe's Little Fat Tits. Right?
Hey, that was for my.
Be quiet. Louis' kids are listening.
Explain to your kids why they can spell better than Bobby.
Yeah, I love how I heard that. He called you a nerd because of how he spelled past.
Yeah.
P-A-S-T. You're a nerd. Like, you only Bill Gates and Stephen Hawking and Jim Norton know how to spell fucking pass. He passed. That's like a caveman talking. He passed.
He passed me,
It's
future.
like a weird, it's like a E.E. Cummings poem about a dead guy. He passed. Fucking moron.
Hey, you nerd. Yeah, sorry for paying attention at school.
Tries to turn it around on Jim like, oh, you're one of those guys.
Like it was a basic spelling error that everybody makes in a long and complicated word. So this is not a PH in the middle of a word, you asshole. This is 5-year-olds can spell this right.
Yeah, it's not even like laugh with a GH. There's no silent letters.
Yeah.
I get the same one. Idiot.
He spells Y-A.
Yep.
So he'll text you.
The same one.
Yeah. He's from Boston.
Yeah.
Did it happen? Oh, you got this? He wrote the same thing to you?
Yeah, sure.
Moron. And it's not a spell check thing.
No,
of course it's not.
You don't
blames it all the time.
go over to the T. It's a whole other part of the. It's geographically very far from two S's and an ED.
You can definitely tell if somebody fucked up or if the iPhone fucked up.
You know what?
right.
You're right, and I wish I would have called him on that because it annoyed me when he said spell check. It's
No.
like there's more letters than the other one. We all
Well,
knew.
so when somebody's
we weren't
defending
buying it,
themselves and they use two different defenses.
Yeah, he
The
also
first
said.
one was, well, who knows how to spell pass? That's like a Latin verb. That's where he starts, and then he goes, oh, well, it was the spell check. Of course I know. I'm a nerd too, Jim. It was the spell check.
He also said that he was laying in bed. So I was laying in
then he
bed.
was like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, you can't spell when you're laying in
No,
bed.
when you're laying
Just
in
gotta
bed,
let it
there's
go
no
at that
way.
point, yeah.
Then you're at the mercy of that aggressive spell check.
We should call him right now.
Very
man.
proactive about spell check.
Hey, he's on the set. Don't bother him.
Oh, that's right. He's on the set. He's on the set.
Oh, she's stupid.
God damn, man.
You should call Tribeca Films and tell them you have a guy in your cast that can't spell.
Get him fired.
So,
I'm smart too, dude.
Yeah.
I'm smart too.
I'm
not dumb like everyone thinks.
Dude, you know what? Just passed over, dude.
I'm finished.
You know what, dude? You're so schmarmy. You're spelling the words right. What are you, queer?
Spelling. That's his thing is the fat consonants.
Yeah.
It's just a
Spelling.
so. He just spits out his consonants.
Oh, man. Spell. Just because you can spell.
So totally dissected his speech.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
Spelling, dude.
Spell. Fucking. I got a fucking pencil and I wrote fucking. What are you doing? What are you emphasizing? What feeling are you emphasizing?
Fuck, man.
The visual of you turning down the radio for your daughters.
Oh,
is
well,
killing me.
I always want to listen to this show, but I drive my daughters to school, and I'm always riding the volume. But with him, it was just, and sometimes I let it go.
Yeah.
The curses in the world. I don't like, and I do it for a living, so I don't mind my girls know it earlier than a lot of kids their age. But that was, Jesus, there's no call for that.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. It's not even that it's like offensive.
You got to know when to use
no
those
sense.
words, right? Fucking.
Because even when he confused Colin with Bill Burr, he's like, cocksucker. He couldn't just say Bill. It was Colin. He's like, fucking cocksucker.
That's how he spells the name Bill.
If you had the iPhone.
That's what that's what he
It's
does.
because he's so insecure, he doesn't think he exists if he's not making a big explosive noise. And he can't just go anyway, so here's how I feel, because he feels like he's shrinks into nothing.
Poor Bobby.
So he's gotta talk like this and say fucking in order to feel like he's registering it, feel like he's moving the needle on life at all. Otherwise he's gonna kill himself. Quiet is terrifying to me.
I wish he was still here.
No, and I explained to my kids how, in New York, the audiences are harder in a whole other way. In Boston, it's like you're going to get your ass kicked and people are going to scream. But here, they're just deathly, intelligently quiet. It's unnerving when you come from Boston. And so when a guy like him comes, and I described a guy like Bobby sputtering and cursing on stage, and New Yorkers just cringing, going, what's this guy doing? And his face is turning red. His fucking now bald face is turning red. And he's trying to
Any place with
spinning on the
literacy, any kind of literacy is going to upset Bob.
Well, he also pauses to fucking, and cursing is a way of pausing because he's too stupid to collect a lot of thoughts in a row. He picks them up piecemeal as he's going. Like, you know what, dude? Fucking, and as he's doing that, he's thinking next, please, next, please, next.
Something come into my brain.
He can't put silence between words.
Oh my
God, instead of going, so then. And that's again perfect, exact opposite of Patrice, who could command, and then he'd talk, and then it'd be quiet, and you'd wait for him.
Yeah.
But Bobby's like, so then I fucking I went to the then fucking cocksucking. These are all him trying to think of what
Those are
comes
pauses.
next.
It's the equivalent.
Those are supposed to be pauses.
It's the equivalent of ... on
Yes.
paper.
Dude,
No silence between words and no air between bites.
God damn. Thanks for the
Bobby's
laugh.
policy.
No,
Patrice was not afraid of that silence, too. Yeah.
No, that's what was
just,
so.
That's a talent.
He was just quiet.
Yep.
No, and then he had a fastball. Like, he could do that, and then when he'd get on a roll about something, I mean, he was a very... I love... One thing I love about stand-up since I started loving it is how it works, like, musically, you know? How somebody works the mic and sounds.
Like a rhythm?
Yeah, and he had this great way of doing that he would start by just talking about something, introducing the subject, make people even a little unnerved by how uninterested he is and fucking standing there and doing a big performance. And then he would start getting excited about something, and then he'd start, and then his voice would go up to that raspy register, and he'd start feeling it, and then the place is rolling, and he'd rock. You know, it was just
it had a great dynamic to the whole thing.
That's what he was starting to figure out. Because he was on stage, he was funnier in here than he was on stage for a long time, and he was just, I think, it takes until you're in your late 30s, 40s to suddenly turn into, I can fucking do anything I want up here.
I think that
he just got there.
There was probably a fear of starting slow, like starting with a basic conversation. And not this, you know, I got to grab their attention. I got to talk fast. I got to talk loud. Like, just like you said, this almost disinterested way he would introduce the subject, and then it would build. But to have the confidence to do that at first and not think you're going to lose the crowd.
Well, what gets you finally to do it is when you get older, you just don't care. You really just don't give a shit. I actually don't mind if your life stinks up.
Fuck it.
I went to the
I disagree. You need a good icebreaker.
Shecky Quinn over there.
I went to
have an icebreaker.
You gotta have a good starter.
I went to the taping, and I don't know if it made the DVD, but just like what you're saying, he came out and just checked out the room for like 5 minutes, and I'm sitting there.
Huge amount of balls.
And I'm sitting there in the audience. I don't know.
I don't have those balls.
I don't know if they edited that out of the DVD. I haven't seen it yet.
Or?
Yeah. And I'm sitting in my seat like, this is your fucking chance. Do something. But he had the confidence to just
Well, you
take
get
it
the
all
crowd
in.
into your gear when you do that.
Yeah,
There was one guy who was great at that, but I don't know. I think he's long gone. But remember Jonathan Solomon?
Oh, yeah,
Jonathan.
Ray J. Johnson.
Jonathan Solomon used to come on stage, and the first time I saw him, he had a tape recorder with him, and he came on stage, didn't say anything. He just came on stage, and he looked at the tape recorder to make sure it was running. And then he put it on the thing, and then kind of cleared his throat, looked around the room, and then started. And I was like, wow. But he did that every night. After I saw him a few times, like he always starts by pretending he's not sure of his recorder. Right. Like, I don't even need to look at you people yet. Right. And it would be like, at first you'd go, what a dick. But then you'd go, I guess this is what he does. As soon as he gets one laugh, he's bought credibility for that pace.
It is almost like rebooting the crowd, you know? You kind of,
forget
here's
that last
my
guy.
pace, right?
Doesn't matter how high energy he was.
Right, fuck him.
John Joseph just did 3 songs. And now you're all going to watch me fiddle with my Panasonic micro recorder.
I'm going to say another guy that used to do that, and I'm waiting for my trashing.
Okay.
But Ray Romano would go on at the end of a show, everybody's hot, and he'd go on and be like, the whole crowd's like, oh, is this fucking asshole talking about his fucking family? And by the end of that set, they'd be like, they'd fucking get him right into his energy.
You got to bring him into your wheelhouse, Carl.
That's a good word, Jim.
We have Bob Kelly on the phone.
Oh shit!
Hey, Bobby!
Bobby, we were just talking about you.
Hey guys, I know I hate everyone in that. And fuck you, Louie.
Yeah, you've been jerking off to this the whole time. You love being talked about.
You stinky red-headed fucking piece of shit.
There it goes with the fucking again.
Why would it hurt my feelings that my hair is red? It's been that my whole life.
Exactly.
It's the only thing you can come up with. You don't even have like a unique.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't say anything about how you look or just your basic.
You said his bald face.
Hardware.
You did say his bald face.
Well, after like a long, other acute.
And you say you don't like me. Fuck you.
I didn't say I don't like you.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you,
Don't say I don't like you. That's
Fuck
what
you,
heard.
Louie, with your 2 legs and your goddamn toes.
Fuck you. And I hope your kids are listening. Fuck them too.
Okay. Bob. Hey! I brought him into the conversation.
And he just hung up on that one.
He said, I hope your kids are listening. Fuck them.
That's right.
Wow. You know,
I know you're listening too now, you idiot.
Right now, what he's doing.
You know what, Dad?
Right now, he's walking away, putting his phone, and he's trying to pull up his pants like a fat man does when he walks.
He has no way. Bill Frawley trying to pull his pants up the bottom half of the egg of his body. And they got nowhere to hang.
There's no friction there.
No, there's nowhere for them to hook onto.
Yeah.
You just got to pull them so tight that there's a belt mark in his fucking non-waist.
He probably wrote out that rant just so, because we were just making fun of how he talks. He probably was reading it from a piece of paper.
Yes,
and that's all he
right.
had, so that's why he hung up.
Yeah, nothing else.
And he spelled red hair H-A-R-E.
Want to take a quick break?
Yeah, I got to piss badly.
Just for live read purposes. But Louis C.K., we got Colin Quinn, Jim Florentine, Kurt Metzger, Joe DeRosa, and David Tell just showed up. So.
Okay, where's Amy?
Where did Amy go?
She left, I think.
Why'd she leave?
What?
She got pissed off. She told me you guys have the shit out of
She had something to do?
What'd she have to do?
I don't know what she had to do.
She had anything to do.
None of your fucking business.
But she's lying. You
She
gonna
might
lie
have
to
to do another radio interview here. I think that's where she went.
All right.
All right, she'll probably come back.
Probably
a little
doing
later.
a woman's
something.
station.
I hope so. The Woman's Network.
Oprah. Women
About their
problems.
vaginas, periods.
Quick break and we'll continue.
Sirius XM. Sirius XM. Yeah, this is the Opie and Anthony Show.
Got a lot of guys in the studio.
Oh my God, so funny.
Jim Norton,
Everyone's
Jim
hilarious.
Florentine, Louis C.K.,
Colin has left.
Colin
David
left.
Tell has come in.
Joe
Yeah.
DeRosa,
Oh, wait, we're back on the air.
Metzger, who's Russ
And
Manee.
Russ
We haven't
Manee.
seen Russ in a while. What's up, Dave?
Hey, guys.
I just
don't
want
know.
to say, as a representative of the white comedy community, I'm glad to be here. It's a horrible loss. And I think now we have every race and creed represented in the room. It is funny. This is Patrice's home. There's not one black guy in here.
No.
There's
Yeah, where
not
was
one.
Keith? I thought
He
he was-
died. The one black guy.
Keith.
I don't know. Keith is. I saw Keith last night, but he knows today or tomorrow it's an open invite to come in. Or Kevin Hart, I don't think is in New York right now.
Yeah, we'll take some more people tomorrow.
And that about covers it.
Yeah. And then there's
motherfucker. That's it.
yeah.
I think it's great that you guys are doing this, and it's a shock. And I don't know about anybody in this room, but because of Twitter and all that kind of stuff, I can't even process exactly what's happening or what happened, and it's just a horrible loss. So.
Yeah, it really is, and you see it on Twitter, and you see how many people love the guy.
Yeah, but how many
amazing.
paid to see him, huh?
Yeah, that's true.
I hate to be the
They come out of the
I hate to be
woodwork.
the douche and bag of the conversation here, but everybody loves him for free. We got a purple suit to buy and a gigantic coffin. All right, let's make things happen. All right, enough hemming and hawing about it.
Oh my
We got
God.
bills.
Oh my God.
999. What? Oh, sorry. That was the last time I was here. No, but I mean honestly, it's true. There's a lot of fans, and
Oh my God.
what? Well, what were you guys talking about before I got here?
No, Patrice, we didn't bring it up. You're the first one to bring it up.
Yeah.
Oh, the president's in town. You're right.
Yeah.
There's so many other
We're going
things
to talk
happening.
about that.
Holy
Purple suit and a giant coffin.
First of all, Patrice was probably the most fucking hardcore, could not give a shit about what anybody thought, and that starts from the show business itself. He could not. I've never seen a guy walk away from more projects.
Oh, God, yeah.
The Office. He was on that, right?
Yeah.
He was like, "Fuck, I'm out of this." Is like, no, I don't want to do this.
Arrested Development.
Arrested Development, Web Junk, and I'm sure like several movies where they like just probably wanted. Russ worked with him on the last pilot for Comedy Central, right?
Yeah, that's right. And
Russ Maneve, everybody.
Yeah, and the way you're saying that, we were involved in something with his pilot, and it wasn't going the way he wanted it to go, and there was a room full of Comedy Central executives, and I'm telling you, he screamed, not even a hiccup of anxiety or intent, and just for 20 minutes, just a steady stream of well thought out insults. And just let everybody have with no fear of losing it, or he was really willing to walk away.
Ultimate
all the time.
balls.
Yeah, totally.
Ultimate balls.
From the beginning, from his whole life.
Jim, you tweeted a picture yesterday, you and Patrice on a movie set, and how miserable he was, or something like that.
Furry
Did he do
Vengeance.
something on there?
We fucking did, which is not a great film.
Right.
We played
Great.
construction workers, And we had this. They gave us honey wagons.
I saw you guys in two construction hats.
He just starts laughing. Fire Avengers, we play construction wagons.
But I was like the codependent one. He was just embarrassing to be associated with because we had to go in and do our first meet with the director, and we had sat around all day. And I'm trying to like, hey, we're doing a movie, and it's a Brooke Shields movie, and we're sitting down, and he's just.
You're like the battered wife making excuses.
I'm like, you know what? He's tired.
The wife of the alcoholic.
Everybody hated him on that shoot. He was so.
He never had a time like when you first come to New York and start being in showbiz or whatever. Everybody has some awful cringeworthy memory of meeting a booker or whoever and shooting up too quickly from your chair. Oh, hi, thank you. Yes, thank you. He never lived that moment in his whole life. He could be slumped in a chair, and Steven Spielberg walks up to him and he looks at him like, "Do I have to take my hand out of my pocket to shake your hand?" How you doing?
Uppity, I think it's the word you're looking for. He's uppity. But a good kind of uppity.
He was a very down energy uppity.
But I can say this because I talked to, and I think a lot of the comics here will back me up. There's a lot of comics who wishes they could be here, and you've been getting calls from people. To this young generation of comedy, like Louie and I are kind of like, in gym, like we're all the gyms here. There's like 9 gyms. we're different. But to like Russ's people and Joe especially, like Joe's people, Joe DeRosa's people, Patrice was the guy that they looked up to because he was definitely the fucking wildest, like, commander of like a stage and like. Especially with the New York City club scene, which is way better than, like the LA club scene in terms of like, you're going to get in somewhere eventually here. It's not like you're going to do a couple of improv classes and meet somebody who does a voiceover thing and rescue a dog and just kill some time, hopefully before you're 40 years old, something happens. But here, like these guys looked up to him because he like could dominate these clubs, and then if he didn't like the clubs, he wouldn't go back. It wouldn't be like this whole thing of like, play ball or whatever. And that's pretty, especially for a guy who is a great comic, you want to see him perform a lot. I don't think Patrice, only on his terms, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he never lived a false moment, I don't think.
No.
He just wasn't willing to.
Sometimes he would allow, though. Patrice is the thing, and he was his uncomfortability with people. Sometimes he misread situations where he thought that people were being worse than they were, and there was times he would go back and realize, like, I probably shouldn't have handled that way. That was self-destructive. Like he was also good at looking back with self-analysis and going,
remember when Chris Rock gave him that speech?
Oh boy.
Chris Rock gave Patrice
Well, I remember because Chris and I, when we were doing this fucking stupid Pootie Tang, we were auditioning people, and Patrice was, for both of us, one of our favorite guys.
Yeah.
We loved Patrice, and we wanted to put him in the movie. And I don't remember which part it was, but there was a big, huge part that was his.
Oh, shit.
As long as he just walked in and just made a basic effort.
And Louis, he was a good actor, right?
He was.
He was a really good actor.
He could act. He was really good. And so it was just, and anyway, Chris and I were working on it together at the time and doing a bunch of things at once. And that audition that he did took place without us there. So we saw a tape. And we just see him walk in with this script at his side in his big hand. And he just looks at the camera like, do I have to do this right now? And he kind of picks up the script with this big, all right. And just starts reading the lines like, this is shit, I hate this. You could see the sweat on his face said, like, I had to walk here from wherever.
Yeah.
I hate this. And we're like, we really wanted to give him the part, but we couldn't.
Wow.
But we talked about that he was wasting opportunities because of how much talent he had.
Yeah.
And if he could make a few little adjustments to doing exactly what he wants every 10 seconds. I mean, he might have been seen by more people. It's hard because we love the guy because he was like that. And when he made it to 40, it was like, all right, you made it to 40 this way. Now it's working. It's just starting to work. But if he had taken, again, I'm angry he didn't take better care of himself. It's part of your job. If you're given, he was giving a vital ingredient to America comedy.
Right.
And he deprives everybody of it now because he fucking wouldn't stop drinking grape soda. So and eating McDonald's.
Spike Lee loved him too, and he was in 25th Hour. And Spike uses the same guys over and over and over.
Yeah,
really?
And yeah, he does. I've seen all of his films.
I don't see Spike in here, do you?
Well, there's a good reason. There's a reason for that, Dave.
Okay, go ahead.
This is called. This is a black bridge that was burned.
I see.
You think it was just white people he offended? He was. He had a pilot. Like, Spike wanted him to do a project, or to hold off on a project, like because it was between Patrice and another guy. But Spike really liked him, and Spike's like, please just don't go out to L.A. for pilot season. And Patrice just refused to bend. He's like, I got to go out for pilot season. And Spike's like, I just want you to. Can I just keep you on hold? Because he wanted to use him for that or something else. And Spike actually called him personally, which you really don't do. And he goes, look, I really would like you to do this, to hold out for me. And he goes, well, you're calling me. That's, this is my agent should be talking to you. This is my agent expressing my wishes.
Oh, my God.
And Spike's like, you won't do it? And he goes, no. And Spike goes, all right, then. And hung up on him, and that was the last time he spoke to Spike Lee.
I've never heard a revisionist white man telling two black men talking a story. That'd be like my mom describing a reach around donkey punch. He took all the spirit and emotion out of it. And then Spike said,
One gentleman puts his penis in the...
Well, I didn't want to jig it up too much.
You may have the road, Patrice, by my liege.
How was I supposed to say it? And the one motherfucker's on the phone.
Now you got my attention.
It was all, yo.
Check it out.
Yeah, like set the stage. It's Brooklyn in the deserted playground.
Hung up that motherfucker, ate chicken, looked at white pussy. I don't do good black impressions. I just do me.
Pretty good right there.
Thank you very much.
That was pretty good. Oh fuck! You know what though? Fuck Spike Lee with his fucking. If he did he wasn't hiring him. No, he wasn't saying here's money, so don't go get that other money.
But he wasn't asking him to go get money.
Maybe I'll give you this. So
Sounds like a test.
But now I don't remember the entire story, but he really.
Fuck that shit.
I'm not in a position to say fuck Spike Lee because I would love to do one of his pictures.
Was this before Katrina?
From Patrice's.
Was it?
From Patrice's dead point of view, that's easy to now take.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Fuck Spike Lee. I'm going to say through dead Patrice.
And because Patrice,
Spike Lee, Patrice don't give a fuck about Spike Lee.
And because Patrice is dead and can no longer help me, fuck Patrice. I'm with Spike Lee. I'll side with the director who's alive.
Yeah, that's right. Louis is the only living director in here. No, but Joe, you made a movie recently, right?
I made a short film with Bobby Kelly.
Oh, there we go.
And Bill Burr. If I don't say that, I'm going to get screamed at.
Fucking great, you fucking shithead. You fucking Arab cocksucker. You didn't say my fucking name when you mentioned the fucking movie.
Jesus. But these guys, Kurt and Joe and like Jay Okeson and Mike McKeown, these guys like knew Patrice in the day, right? Like back in like he like kind of like shepherded you white boys.
Yeah, he really.
Go ahead.
He was nice to white boys.
No, he really was like.
He was, man.
Because you guys used to tell me.
Because his whole principle was like, never let somebody give you, hold something over you they can take away from you. So that's what, like, at the roast, dude, that was like the most tense, shitty fucking job. And like I had to work with him because he wouldn't talk to the writers. Like it made like a whole stink. He had his manager call. I don't know if they thought I was in an office separately, but they called the writer's room just to talk to me. So the head writer, Ray, picks it up and goes, here, it's for you. And because he just wanted me to go over his jokes with him. So they're really territorial with that shit, dude. Like, that was like a whole thing. And he didn't give a fuck. And I watched Ray talk to him. And Ray's a fucking really good writer, but he's like the same kind of like, the same way Patrice would be as a comic. He's like that of writers where he won't like...
Ray's a really funny dude.
Yeah, he's
really
a funny dude. But so I watched Ray on the phone, like, trying to talk down, like, tell Patrice how it was going to be. And I just saw Ray silent, and his neck turned red. And I found out later, Patrice, like, he told me, man, I don't give a... You ain't the head writer is shit. Like, I don't ever talk to me that way. Like, he just, like, smashed him down. I was like, wow, dude, you could do that. I mean, this just happened.
You could reason with Patrice and get him to change his
Yup,
opinion,
you could.
but it had to be voluntary. You never, ever, were going to beat him or intimidate him into changing his opinion.
No, he wasn't. He didn't choose his battles. Maybe it's better to let this go.
Yeah,
Just fight another day. Yeah, it's just like, no, I'm not doing this. Right in front of me, I'm not doing it.
But his performance, and we'll all agree on it. I mean, like, just like even the specials he shot, like. Usually, like when you shoot a special, they never capture the guy. Like I think 88% was captured with him. Like I saw at least 1/2 hour with him where like it just totally fit. Everything was right, and the crowd got him. And you know, it was good to see because him and I used to talk all the time about like we do these we do these shows different places, and you know, it's like these people were not getting me. I get walkouts, you know, that kind of stuff. And like for him especially, because like you know, I'm a bit of a fag. Like I'll midget joke my way out of it. He didn't have any of that in there. You know, he'll fucking go harder and harder. You know,
he was one of those guys. Yeah, when it turned ugly on stage, he'd be like, "Okay, you want to do it like this?" Yeah, he wouldn't dance around and try to find a way back in with them.
Yeah, there was so many.
Oh, okay, we're enemies now.
There were so many clubs I go into improvs at Funny Bones the week after, and like Patrice walked about 300 people over 5 shows.
We all love that.
Yeah, I just I go, did he even know? No, he just wanted to walk more. He didn't care. Just get the fuck out. Just go right now.
When he got sent home from Hilarities in Cleveland, they fired him, I think, in the beginning of the week.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Then at the NACA Club,
and I met that guy.
That's fantastic, right?
Yes, I mean, I want to know the details of that. I wish I was there for all of that.
Yeah.
Whatever show was the one where they're like, okay, we can't.
You
can't
gotta
keep
go. You
like,
gotta
what they
leave.
tried having the sweet, funny energy middle guy close one of the shows, maybe. Let him middle for the same money. Let the other guy close, and then still he's got to go.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. And how does it get to that
He's gotta
point?
leave
Is there
Cleveland.
a talk first?
He needs to go home.
know.
Is it like
they
a talking?
send him home?
Yeah, you got to go home. You got to leave.
Yeah.
You're killing us.
Can't even keep the hotel. We just need to get out of town.
But you'd envy his integrity. Like, even, like, again, sometimes he made the wrong decision or he was dumb, but the integrity he had with, I'm not going to bend and whore myself. Every comedian envies that because, the collateral damage is you fuck up some good things, but the reality is at the end of the day, you never feel like you're a fucking prostitute.
And you're grabbing your ankles at some point.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
And I think we all have those moments in our careers.
That's a great name for a pilot. Grabbing my ankles. I'm grabbing my ankles here.
NBC.
Please. When Colin was in here, we missed it because we were on the second wave of people, me and Russ coming in. We decided it would be better to go to a Baptist church first, and
Good for you. No, I would have done that. Yeah, good for
that's
you.
all right. You guys, everybody grieves differently.
No, that's good for you. Yeah.
But did you guys talk about the tough crowd? Because like the initial grouping of the tough,
Not much, actually.
you didn't?
Yeah.
Okay, because people still bring that up to me. They're like tough crowd, and it's always like the same skeevy chick who was like hot 10 years ago, but she's like, I love that tough crowd. And then she would go through like, about you guys and how you guys all, gel together. And there really was a gel. And I think we all did bits on that. You were on it, I were on it. But like you guys definitely had
the core,
that.
Yeah.
You
and Patrice and
Geraldo.
Nick and Geraldo and Keith
Geraldo,
Robinson and Colin. I mean, it's fun. It was one of his favorite things he ever did. It was one of mine.
Colin getting bashed every fucking show.
What host allows himself to be attacked?
And did you guys kill? He would just be wearing shorts or some shit, and you would attack his little Irish legs.
I was watching one recently where we were slapping. It was Pat Cooper was there, and Voss and me and Patrice, and it was 5 guys instead of 4. And then you would just tag out the guy, like if he said something hacky or something awful, and you have to go to the bench. We had a bench, and whoever said something really hacky or if a joke bombed, you got fucking tag teamed out.
Great bet.
Yeah, it was just an original way to do a talk show.
Watching him slam people on that show was I remember watching him and Marin on there one time, and Marin's fucking hilarious. So they started talking about the Bible. And Marin goes, it ended when it needed to end. What if there was a third testament? And he started into this Mark Marin thing. Like you can hear it start. He goes, He goes, and let's say the third testament opens up, and he got that far, and you just hear Patrice off camera go, "Shut up, Mark."
Did you already watch the clip of him trashing that fan? A tough crowd.
Oh, wow, that was a good one.
That's so great because that fan wants to stick to his Vietnamese guns and doing that voice.
Yeah.
And Patrice just won't fucking. He's like, "Will you pull out of the Vietnam Matrix?" He'll
have no part of it. Yeah.
And he's just. I mean, because it's all his insults. It's like what you were just talking about. All his insults are like insightful. Like he scanned you and figured your shit out.
Yeah.
That's
Exactly, man. Yeah, he didn't just throw out shit that was surface insults. He knew what the fuck would get you.
He profiled people extremely well,
quickly too.
And that's why when he smashed you with something, it was like, oh,
it was personal. Yeah. Like,
you walk into the Comedy Store and he'd stare you down for like 20 seconds. You knew it was coming. You're like, all right, fuck.
And then you got a personalized bashing.
The worst.
No stab.
He's been looking at you with the red Terminator screen, like doing an analysis, breaking it down.
He walked people in regular life, not just in show. I remember
he walked the crowd in a restaurant.
I swear, one night at the Cellar, all the waitresses from Caroline's went down. They were all dialed up, and they all looked hot. And we're all like, wow, we're going to try to fuck all the waitresses from Caroline's tonight. And they single file walked out. And I go, where are you girls going? They go, well, it was fun until Patrice showed up and got going. Because he just sat there going, you stink. I bet you're fucking pussy, but you know.
He did stink. They all did stink.
Yeah, they did.
I mean, that's a great thing. He was right. I remember.
The worst was when you'd fucking start dating a girl and you'd bring her into the cellar and they were all there and you'd see the look and you're like, oh fuck, this is, first of all I'm gonna get attacked in front of her and humiliated because you don't feel like a real comic when fucking 5 guys are just kicking your teeth in.
Why would you bring a girl?
Yeah, why would you bring a girl?
It was a tactical error.
Yeah.
You know, you want to bring her to the cellar.
It wasn't a girl. That's brutal.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not supportive.
Were you coming from the Mark Twain Awards? Come on, little lady.
Dude, do you remember
starting?
Jim, do you remember that when you came in? You came in with that girl, and I remember you came over and asked him not to be. That was your mistake. You asked him to not be a dick. Like you came to some girl and sat at the back.
That ain't gonna work.
Patrice was sitting like a middle table, and he kept. He goes, "Hey, Dr. Octopus." It was when he was making fun of you for opening up for Dice. So you came with this girl, and you tried to sit her away from both the table and the middle table.
Yeah.
And it was right after the Dice thing, so he starts doing this Dice voice at you at the top of his lungs. He would not leave you alone. And you're like, can you please, I'm with a girl. And then it was like blood in the water. Like, just like a shark would not stop.
I don't remember. I vaguely remember asking him, like, just not please.
Not tonight, right?
Not tonight, please.
I really like this one.
This is really... we argued about that one time. I'm like, I need everything to work for me to fuck. Like I can't. It has to all work out.
You brought
for
it
me
to the
to
wrong
succeed.
place. You thought you were just gonna walk in like, Dad, this is Henry. It's his place.
Yeah.
Did he really
Henry?
Jim. I remember pissing girls off and getting laid as a result. I mean, actually, one time we did Mohegan Sun. It was right after this. My ex dumped me. And he was like, he was trying to cheer me up. So we're sitting in that horrible.
Sure that worked.
That cafeteria. You know that cafeteria where in the casino. He picks out this big fat, like the fattest Dominican girl I've ever seen in my life. And he just starts talking about fucking me, like really openly and this randomly in cafeteria. And I'm horrified, like, dude, don't. And he's like, yeah, no, he's got a big dick. I heard. Why don't you take it? And dude, this girl called me up late. Like, it fucking worked.
Wow.
Did you bang her?
Now I called he had no respect for me, so I called my ex to come back up and fuck me instead of I should have fucked that fat girl.
See, there's a lot of shoulda, coulda, wouldas in this room. Hey, it's about Patrice.
Yeah. She called me up in the middle of the night and asked if I was hungry. It was amazing.
I love the Mohegan Sun in the cafeteria.
In the employee cafeteria, he just picked up a fat
we live the
Dominican.
worst fucking lives in the world, don't we?
He'd get you laid. The only stipulation was you had to fuck a girl that looked like Patrice.
I know we're talking about him like he was fucking like he was Nicholson in the 70s. He helped you fuck a fat chick in a cafeteria.
I didn't even do it.
Yeah. What a life! Oh, what a shame!
Yeah, what a
I can't
loss.
believe that came to a halt.
Trying to hook up with a fat Dominican chick in a fucking.
After she just did a double shift and she smelled like fucking food.
I should have done it. I really should have done it. I should have fucked that fat chick.
For the story, yeah.
Did you guys do that roast of Patrice at
Boston?
was that Boston Comics?
I believe Boston.
Because I remember all the comics were like,
hey, there was like a big wave of people like, what's all the excitement? Where's everyone going? They're like, they're roasting Patrice over at the like it was like a lynching in the 20s. Just like freckle-faced guys who are no longer comics and just like weird. Like ventriloquists were running over, magicians, everybody like, we're going to get him. And then all these long faces leaving because Patrice can hold his own. Yeah. Like a wildebeest. Like in that animal video where the wildebeest like saves the smaller beast from the
lions.
From the lion, like that. He could hold his own.
I remember that. I think I remember that.
Is that where Keith bombed?
Yes, I think that was the one where Keith went up and tried to just improv. Like, why are we roasting this man?
I remember that.
Yeah.
That was the one.
Yeah, he came in late. He came in late, and just went right up to the fucking.
Nothing prepared at all.
And that's like 2003 or something.
Yeah.
And that because we were off the air, man. And I remember I wasn't sitting next to you, and one of the comedians pointed out how I wasn't sitting next to you and how I sold you out because we were off the air. That's how I know when that was. I think it was 2003.
Man. Yeah.
Jumped on Colin's coattails was the joke.
Yeah.
Went from us to him.
Yeah.
That's sad. I love his bits about being paranoid as a black guy, like not one. If he threw away a soda,
that was fucking
he
brilliant.
didn't throw it out on the street because it might land next to somebody, like some dead girl.
Yeah, dead white girl.
Yeah.
He'd be the Coca-Cola killer.
The Pepsi-Cola rapist. He's like, go over a hill and land by a dead white girl. The Pepsi-Cola rapist.
And he'd always get a receipt, so it was marked
no
what time it was.
Yeah.
By gum.
That's actually, you know what? I think there was some truth in that, too.
No,
That
there was.
fucking,
You could tell that's why it was funny. But that's what it was like a totally other thing.
Yeah.
It's like I remember reading a thing about Rocky when they made that movie and that Stallone was peddling the script. Nobody wanted to make it. Right. And then whoever made it, the guy, producer, said he's reading yet another boxing picture. Like there's so many. Who's going to want to make this? And then he goes, and then 3 pages in, this guy's talking to his turtles. And I'm like, what is this? And it made him pay attention. That's what Patrice was like. He's like, here's another big black comedian on stage.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch him with one eye open. And then he's talking about this Pepsi-Cola rapist thing and these silly, weird, totally different insight into being a huge black guy than anybody. And you go, wait a minute, a whole other thing.
I thought you were going into a different direction where you were saying trying to convince him of something was as frustrating as talking to turtles. Like you have a better shot at winning an argument with them.
But we all agree he was black.
Yeah,
he was black. At the end of this, we're all going to say he was black.
Oh, man.
Really? And from Boston, too. He was a black guy from Boston. So, Louis, do you think you ever met him like as a child? No. Oh, no. Because you're from a different town. No, Boston, totally segregated. Would you say Boston is? I mean, I don't.
We know
giantly different. Like Nick DiPaolo probably never saw me. Never. No. There was
maybe
in a school bus. Did not walk on the same street.
Nick wouldn't even sit on the couch with him on Tough Crowd.
No, every time I had a Boston comedian over, like sometimes a Boston comedian would call me when I first moved here and ask to stay with me to try to be in New York. And we'd be like on the Upper West Side, and he'd be like, "Why you live in a black neighborhood?" Like literally all the time.
So you see any black people, it must be a black neighborhood. Yeah,
for 20 blocks. This is black neighborhood. But Patrice. I don't know what part of Boston he was from.
Roxbury.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's a good place, right?
He was the best to argue race with, though, because even when hours. Because even when you didn't agree with it, he always had a great point of view. It was like, and you always had to respect what he was saying. It's like it wasn't just the typical black guy sounding off about race.
Right.
It was a well thought out point. Yeah. And he was right about white racism. Like
he knew more about white culture than any black guy I've ever.
One of the most white people.
Yeah. I've talked to 3 or 4.
Yeah.
No, and he was basically a very.
Yes.
I just realized who was talking.
Yeah. Actually, it was 2 of them, and you talked to them both twice.
This is too. I thought it was 2 totally different
This is too white on black. Let's ask somebody of a different creed. Russ, you're kind of Asian. You have to stand up for our only celestial in the room.
No, but he was fair. I mean, it wasn't like Jim said. It wasn't a knee-jerk black, response. He was fair, and he stood up for white people as well.
And he didn't like white women, which threw me immediately, being a black comic.
He
do you
slept
think
with
that
a
held
few,
it back
though.
more than anything?
That he didn't like white
That he
women?
didn't like white. He didn't bang white chicks.
No, he did sleep with a few white chicks.
I know, but it didn't help his career like a lot of the other. like your Sammy Davis, your Russ and I were talking about something that we're the weakest generation of comics on the way down there, because we're like, think about it: Don Rickles, Joan Rivers, people have been through wars, just all these amazing things. They're still going. It's like us. Who knows what's going to happen?
So fast.
Yeah, all of our
Freddie
guys,
Roman
all
is
our
still
best
around.
guys. Yeah.
No,
And Freddie Roman. I mean, like just so many. Jackie Mason alone, like he's like doing something right now. Who knows what he's doing?
Exactly.
That's a frightening thought.
Denying paternity
the cast of
that's
Hot
true.
and
We
Sweet.
lost a lot. Hedberg.
This year. Oh, yeah. I can go further back.
Oh, yeah, even
Jerry Wilson.
Jerry Red Wilson.
Fuck yeah, Jerry.
This year it was
Schimmel.
It started with Jenny, Richard Jenny.
Yep.
I guess you could say that was like in the
Drake
Geraldo.
Sather.
Oh,
Died
that
the same
guy.
way.
That was that was the shooting himself. Wow, this is depressing.
Patrice DiStefano.
Hedberg, Geraldo, Mike DiStefano,
Freddie Soto.
Freddie Soto, that's right, yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
Jesus, comics die more than rappers, dude.
They really do.
They
It's
do.
amazing.
Rappers are healthy now. They live a good life.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all drinking wheatgrass. What happened to you guys? Criminals.
Vitamin water.
Wheatgrass and Red Bull.
Is there anything the fans can do, like any donation set up by the family?
Honestly,
or,
what I think
we're
is
gonna figure it all money out. Or like,
no, but I think a show of support. Because I'm doing Magoobies in Baltimore this weekend, and I really think to get those shows sold out, it's what he would have wanted.
I was waiting for Jim to break the ice because I'm at Mohican Sun. See, there we go. We were talking about the cafeteria, but I can't. And I was waiting. I knew he was going to do it.
Of course,
wait for his lead.
Yes, it's what he would have wanted.
Of course.
A full house for me.
It's what he would.
Yeah, we'll figure. To answer Dave's question, we'll figure it all out.
Yeah, we'll do something.
We'll
Obviously.
absolutely do something.
I don't know what, but
because
we don't know yet. We don't know what's going on yet.
Yeah,
and
weird time.
I assume his family and all that, want their whatever service. There will be a service.
Yeah. They're already looking for a church, and I think
Is it going to be in New York or?
I think New York. I'm not sure though. But I don't know if it's been decided, but they'll probably know by today or tomorrow. So we'll, everybody will find out. I just don't know exactly what day. Next week sometime maybe.
Yeah, it was so hard to just even sleep last night. Every time you start dozing off, you just think about it. It's one of those.
He rocked on this show. You guys really
sucked.
Oh, we were fortunate, man.
No, you guys were very cool to bring him on and let him be himself.
If he sucked, he wouldn't have fucking been on.
but-
He was so good at just talking about anything.
Yeah, he
like,
really was.
so insightful. And a lot of listeners would write in and say shit like, "Oh, I don't agree with him. Fuck his opinion on this." It's like,
is that really what they said? Come
No,
on.
all right. They
Get that
called him a
out of
nigger.
here.
Yes, they did.
What's that cantaloupe doing? Your crowd's a little,
That guy's a real nincompoop.
A little rough around the edges.
There's no Occupy. You got the Outback Steakhouse crowd, not the Occupy Wall Street.
This was fun.
Yeah,
Now
it really
goes back to sucking.
Made me laugh a lot today. Just talking about all that shit. It's still very hard to watch videos and shit like that.
Impossible to digest
it's
at this
so hard
point.
to do that. Yeah.
It's impossible to digest at this
Yeah,
point.
you can't.
It's a goddamn shame.
I was on my way out to see him, and I got the phone call yesterday morning. Did you get to see him in the hospital?
Yeah.
Took that U-turn,
I
huh?
didn't see him.
We went the day before Thanksgiving, me and Matt Frost, and you just talked to him for a few minutes. You knew he couldn't hear you. I told him everybody was asking for him, and hoping he could hear, but kind of hoping he couldn't, because he was on morphine. It's like you don't want him to know.
Yeah.
And it was very, very sad.
He wasn't responsive at all?
No, not at all. I don't believe so. Matt Frost said he might have made some type of a gesture, but you don't know if that's just.
Jeez.
Oh, that's horrible.
You don't know if that's involuntary. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
For somebody so mentally outspoken. and
That's just it. Yeah.
To be like in a locked-in syndrome.
It's
That's
terrible.
horrible.
It's
so,
the fate worse than death.
Did he do you think he recognized?
I don't
seeing you
know,
guys?
because we came. We didn't know he was going to die in a few days, but by then I think he was very heavily medicated again. It was just so I'm almost hoping he didn't know or it filtered in somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, could be. Good that we had a lot of laughs and ended on a great note.
I think the fans wanted to know too. That's such a sad. Wow.
Watching it,
Not
it's
a blessing then if he's.
No, I know. Yeah, because somebody like that, you don't want to think that they're put in a position where they're cognitive. They know exactly what's going on, but they can't express themselves because that's what he did so well.
Yeah.
Is just
Do you know how bizarre it is to have a one-way conversation with Patrice O'Neal? It's the most surreal thing I ever did in my life. I'm like, I could just say anything and you can't respond. I wish I had this opportunity years ago.
You should have spent 12 hours there.
Just trying my jokes on him.
Patrice, everybody misses you. We hope you're well. Black people are responsible for their own plight.
And you know what, dude? Look, white pussy, I'm sorry,
I know
but
you're
it's
in
better.
there thinking I'm right. I know you're inside there, and you can hear me, and you know I'm right.
I should have done that.
And I'll tell everybody you said so. And that's how you'll be remembered.
And played like Judas Priest and Ozzy and things that he would really fucking hate.
Jeez, I brought you Joe's mixtape of his favorite.
Joe's stupid mixtape.
Hey, I got Joe's Comedy Central special here I'm going to put on for you. I should have just put on all the comedians. Not just, but all the comedians. I should have just put on, because he never would have wanted to just sit there and have comedians playing. That would have been a fucking fate
what
worse
a
than...
nightmare.
Or like the anthology of improv. That would be great. Here's the whitest kid you know. Come on, guys.
Oh my
the French
God.
waiter sketch.
Oh my God.
But you wouldn't hear anything. You would just hear like... The heart monitor going up.
The ultimate focus group.
There was nothing worse for me than being on stage as a seller and Patrice had to go to the bathroom. I'm walking by that stage and I'm just shaking his head at you like, you stink. Nothing worse. I would just pray he didn't have to go piss when I was on stage. I got that look every time.
I used to go on the road with him to open for him sometimes, and he'd sit in the wing, like of the stage or whatever, and you'd walk off stage. You'd have a good set. You'd walk off stage, you get applause, and he'd just be shaking his head, going, I guess I'll go try to clean up that fucking mess.
Well, I had my recorder on the side, where Patrice was sitting, and then I go home and listen to the tape. The whole tape was him telling me how much I suck.
That's great.
So funny.
First time I met him, Jamie Duke, I might have told the story recently, but Jamie Duke was a local booker. He had set up a college. It was me opening, Patrice middling, and Dom Fig headlining. You remember Dom?
Oh, God.
And it was a
He became the vampire of comedy after
the vampire comedian.
He was the vampire of comedy.
What do you mean?
Well, he decided. Well, he was Dom Fig for about 40 years of stand-up, and then he decided to be the vampire of comedy.
Was
so
he
he put in teeth.
Oh no!
And he started
He put white makeup on.
But he would wear a fanny pack on stage. He had a fanny pack that he had his stuff in, but he didn't take it off. He was like the vampire with a fanny pack. But he would do. I asked him gently, "So why are you doing being the vampire comedy?" And he said, "I'll be on every show because I'm the only vampire comedy."
Yeah,
so they'll have to have me on every show. I will be on every show.
Did it work?
Yeah, he hosted SNL.
He's in the new Twilight movies.
I bought. It was a noon.
Ahead of his time, dude.
It was an afternoon gig in a fucking college, and it was horrible. And I bombed. And Patrice, who I'd never met before, went on, and he didn't do much better. I might have had a 1, maybe he had a 2.5.
Wait, he did a college gig?
Yeah, this is many years ago.
That is the ultimate bad
booking.
And then Dom Fig went on and fucking had like a -3.
Oh.
And fucking Patrice, I had to drive him back to New York. And he's making fun of me because I was like acknowledging that I was bombing. He's like, you're up there like, hey, I tell you, no respect. And he's just attacking me like I bombed. And I'm like, you fucking bombed too. He's like, no, I didn't. I'm like, you fucking asshole. I hated it. I hated Patrice when I first. This fucking pompous idiot really thought he did well.
You really couldn't stand him at that moment, right?
Motherfucker, I hated him the first time.
I think that was the way people took you. You'd hate him the first time, and then the next time you see him, you're like, oh, there's that guy.
There's that asshole
But if you start there
with somebody, there's like nothing. What else is he going to do?
Going up.
And then
Then he'll charm ya.
anything he says.
I don't
you're
remember
like,
when I
he's
liked
all
him.
right. He's
Dude,
all right.
Part of the burden of like, it was always like I always said hello to him the wrong way or something. So like,
Yeah.
I came up one time I slapped him on the back. He's like, "Don't you ever come up to me!" I'm like, all
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's like an emotional burden.
No,
to
sometimes I see him and I'm like, I'm not sure exactly the perfect way to say hi to him. I don't even want to try. I'm going to get called out on some bullshit just for, what's up, Patrice? Oh, come on with that.
What's up? Yeah, I don't want to examine my whole life every time.
We were driving back from Montreal once, and we were lost. We couldn't find the highway, and we pull up to this guy at a stoplight. Patrice puts his head up the window and goes, "Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, kind sir. I need directions to the highway. Could you please direct me and my lost friends, please?" Right? And the guy goes, "Yeah, sure, man. You just go." And he just fucking rolls up his window as the guy's giving him directions. And we're laughing so hard. And he's going, "Wah!" He's really fucking Patrice, and then he just goes, "Ah, God damn it, I can't do it." And he rolled his window down. He goes, "I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Give me the fucking directions."
He was telling me a story about a comedian he was having a problem with in Boston that was bad-mouthed, and I'm giving him a hard time. So Patrice just calls him up on the phone, and he says, "I hear you're bad-mouthing me. You're saying all this shit." And he says, "Next time you're on stage," and very calmly, he's like, "I'm just going to walk in, and I'm gonna throw a chair at you." And then we're just going to see where it goes from there, and I'll just keep throwing chairs. Just the way he so calmly said it to me. I'm just going to throw a chair at you.
He was never. That's one thing he wasn't though. God. Like Patrice would emotionally bully people, but he never, ever used his physical imposing, other than what people would be nervous of by just looking at him.
Right.
Never tried to physically bully people. But I mean, never even tried to impose his size.
No.
It was all fucking his voice and his booming opinions. He never tried to physically bully
but the size was,
People would take that, but he didn't.
Yeah, but
Jim,
you were the best wife you've ever had. He never laid a hand on me. I just can't shit without crying.
No matter how cold supper was.
He would only make me feel awful.
He would just yell at me.
Never laid a hand on me. He assassinated my character. He made me hate myself. But he never laid a hand on me, not one time.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he would never do that. He could
Never. Not even close.
He
All
could just,
psychological damage.
It's like I said earlier.
Why bother? He didn't need to.
Well, like I said earlier, he totally diffused his huge size with what he had to say.
He was smart.
He was really smart.
As soon as you realize that, and the best was watching a comic try to fucking go back and forth with him, and it's like, you're one of those guys who doesn't understand that he's a lot brighter than you.
Yeah,
and
really
he's going to
is.
really
No way.
humiliate you on a visceral
And he was
level.
the first guy during the 9/11 thing, where whatever during the war, whatever, where he goes, Muslims, you now are the new, N-word, you guys. Like, he was the first guy who did that, and he did it, like, a lot smarter and classier than I've heard it a million times since that, And he was the first guy to make that connection, so.
Even when he did Letterman, remember, when he gets up there, he goes, Patrice, you're a big guy. He goes, you just call me fat. He goes, no, you just call me fat. That's okay, but you just call me fat. Like, right off the bat, his first time on there, attacks Letterman 10 seconds
only
time.
The only
time. Have that.
Oh, shit, man.
Wow.
Yeah, I guess. What?
Sorry.
What's
I was
up?
going to ask Jim a question, because you probably know. Was he the kind of, you're talking about his size?
I write a lot, and I just... Oh, sorry. I'm so used to giving advice.
Was he the kind of guy that would actually, like, would he fight if it came down to it? Like, he seems so nonviolent in any way. Like, would he just walk away, or would he, you know what I mean?
I think he would have. Sure, he played football, and people didn't want to try him. I remember there was a...
He was a bouncer. I mean,
he was a strong guy.
He was very, very strong.
Out.
He grabbed me once just playing around, and you felt he was very strong.
Was it in a shower? Let's move forward.
We were in a car one time in the village, and the guy, there was a black guys in front of us, and their car stopped, and there was a cab behind us, beeping. And so the fucking black guys in front of us kind of got out of their car and thought it was Patrice, and it was going to be a physical thing. And the guy said, and Patrice is like, hey, gangster, it's him. And the way he spoke to the guy, you realize that he wasn't afraid of a physical confrontation. The guy didn't back him off. It was interesting to see him in that because I'd never seen him in a situation where there could be a physical problem, and he handled it very well.
He was super intimidating.
He was really intimidating. He had the hat on, and you just didn't know what he was capable of. So yeah, of course, I think he would have if he had to.
But I've never seen him get out of that car because the last 3 times I did see him, he was in that car. He would pull up, and then you go over to him, and he would talk to you like I used to say like the show Cannon. Yeah, he would pull up and then talk to him.
You bend down to something, and then bend over and talk to him like when you're talking to a guy in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
You kind of have to take a knee so you can talk to him.
He could go like, I guess he didn't want to go in the cellar or didn't like feel comfortable there for a while.
It was a very uncomfortable thing.
He'd be like, "Who else is in there?" And you'd be like, "So and so's in there." He goes, "Well, tell him I'm out here." So then you go in there and go like, "Hey, Patrice is outside," and then like some other guy would talk to him, and like we all would just come out and talk to him in the car.
It was like talking to Paulie from Goodfellas. Yeah, you had to go to somebody,
pimp.
get them out.
Yes.
He pulled up like the ice cream man. Everybody fucking ran out.
And then you'd be out there talking to him, like, why did I come out here? It was nice inside. I was having fun. And he's just, this is toxic. Why did I walk outside to be insulted by an asshole in a fucking 6-seat Escalade?
Well, what's the ultimate like insult to you like that he did? Because I know like you and him went back and forth and back.
He said so many funny. One time I was getting a tough crowd. They had chair massages, and I was flirting with the chair masseuse. And he walked in. He asked her, "Do you feel like you're checking a piece of fruit to see if it's bad?" Which was humiliating. Because she laughed at me.
I remember when we went on the virus tour once, and we were sitting at the table signing people's shit afterwards.
Right.
And I was sitting next to Patrice, and some teenage kid says, "I'm only 15," and he was like bragging about how he was a teenager, and then he asked me to sign his underwear, like he pulled his underwear up out of his jeans, and he asked me to sign his underwear. So I'm like, I don't give a shit. I go for it with the Sharpie, and Patrice slaps the Sharpie out of my hand, literally, and goes, "What? You're going to sign a teenage boy's underwear? You know how fast you're going to be in jail?" Like, he smacked me. He said, "What are you doing?"
He really would hang out after a show and like talk to all the fucking people that didn't walk out. And he wasn't like. I remember him telling me that because I always hate that. Like I want to go get the fuck out of there. And he was like he would always hang out with all of them, even if they hated his guts, and talk to every single person. Talk to him.
Yeah, and the crowd. I saw him once in Cleveland, and the crowd was just like every fucking mixture of race and
Very
creed,
diverse.
color.
Always.
Yeah, it was. There'd be the black people that would come in, the black contingency would come in, and then the white people would come in. It just really he wasn't pigeonholed into a
was
one group
crossover
of
act,
people.
Yeah.
You didn't see him rageful very often. Very, very rarely would you see him like that fucking. But you once in a while saw it, and it was just a very rare thing. He never had to get to that level of just fucking visceral anger. Like Bob will get to it quickly, or I'll get to it quickly. But he didn't have that fear. Louis said it really well. Bobby has this fear of he doesn't exist if he's not fucking exploding. But I mean, that's how I am too. And it was interesting to see Patrice. He would never get to that point of rage when you argue. He could be louder than you.
Yeah.
Right? He said that to people at times. You're not going to be louder than me. And you're like, yeah, that's a good point. You're not.
Yeah. I remember many times he'd be talking about something here, if you want to call it talking, and Opie's just pulling the fader back, down, down, and it just at some point it sounded like he was talking through a paper and a comb.
That's what, you know what? It had a great effect though on this show. That when he'd get upset, he'd start sounding off mic because you'd actually start hearing him on everybody else's mic.
Yes.
Right.
His was off at one point.
He would go from it, and he'd be like, and another thing, and, then and it had its own thing to it.
Yeah.
I wish he'd gone for a couple of walks. That's all.
Yeah, I know, right?
I mean, that's what I was telling my kids. Like, I wish now I had gone to his house and just said, "Get the fuck, let's go. We're going for a walk."
He wouldn't have.
Just walk around the block with me, you fat motherfucker. You're gonna die. Because you joke about that stuff when you know somebody who's unhealthy. He's not gonna make it. And then, but it's when you're around 40, it's no joke anymore.
Yep.
You can't do it
It starts
anymore.
breaking down. How do you understand this shit? In the
I don't know what you do with a person who's alive when they're not taking care of
Do you
themselves.
learn from this shit? Like,
I don't know.
What do you do?
I don't
This
know.
is brutal.
I mean, I remember when Geraldo was in the hospital, I thought he'll be okay.
Right.
And when he comes out, I'm going to call him and say, "Hey, man, I don't drink. If you want to go to a movie sometime." Maybe a hard thing about being addicted is that everybody you know does it. And, like, I don't do anything.
And by the way, never once has somebody been jonesing for coke and they said, all right, instead of getting high, I'm going to go to a movie with Louis C.K. What, you live on a little house on the prairie? We'll just make some cornmeal.
You really are talking yourself up or really talking coke down.
We'll go to the pictures. They'll be fine.
The picture show.
Coke is like going to the movies alone. People don't understand.
It's hard. There's two competing things you want to do so bad.
Dave, how do you make sense of this? Do you?
Actually, there's two ways to look. One of them is Louis' way, which is like, it would be great if he had cleaned up his act. The other one is that, like, I consider him like one of the last great, dirty, filthy, genius warrior comics, and that, I think he, unlike a lot of the people in this world, got to live, say, and do pretty much everything he wanted to do. It's kind of sad that he left so early, but, to be honest, I think he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. It's a sad end. But from seeing this over and over and over, it's like, the guy was incredible at what he did. And we're just kind of lucky that we all got a chance to see it live and get to know it. And for the fans of Patrice and comedy like that, really, that kind of comedy is not going to be there forever. So, it's every day it's getting a little tamer, it's a little lamer, and it's a little more, crunchy. So, if you like somebody brutally great like that, you should really go see it live. And I think that's the point of it. But I have no answer on what it is.
It just
well, he
stinks.
would have been. He was getting better.
Yeah.
And his voice would have been more. It would have just gotten better. It's
Yes,
not like
he would have been
it's
a
not
better
like
comic.
being an athlete where you just have your golden years and you phase out.
Yep.
Comedies, you get better when you're mature. Dave's getting better. Everybody I know is getting better as they get older.
I'm holding, I think.
You've gotten better.
Thank you.
And Jim's gotten better. Jim is a whole other guy. You get older and you get better.
I liked this guy.
He would have gotten better. So he had this fuck you, fuck it attitude. But if he had just fucking got the calories down, it wasn't like because he would be better. We'd have more Patrice and better Patrice if he had just fucking lived longer. It's just sad.
Yeah.
It's just sad to me.
If we're
It's sad.
65 and
Be grateful
talking,
for what we had.
No,
like
I am
comedians do. With 65, we're talking. That'd be like 24 more years we could have had of him. Like everybody's
It's a
right.
whole other thing.
Like he did do what he wanted, and he did say whatever he wanted. You're right, and Louis is right too. That it's like, hey man, I wish he would have taken a little better care of himself. Well, that's not a guarantee because he was diabetic, but you kind of wish that you would have known that wasn't the case.
Sure.
I'm glad I was as good of friends with him as I was.
Yes,
I'm happy that I was as close to him as I was.
What bums me out is an avoidable loss of a great voice, an avoidable one. That's a drag to me.
Yeah. Like Geraldo,
like when
Mitch
Mitch died, some people were like, "Don't focus." Like when people saying that he had died of an overdose. Some people were like, well, don't focus on the negativity of his. No, do focus on it because the fucking guy was in his 30s.
Yeah,
and he could have had a huge life and career, and he could have given a lot more. And he died of something that it should be pointed out what killed him. That doesn't have to kill a person.
Right.
That's a fucking mistake, and some people take that shit lightly. Some people go, you fuck around with drugs. It's so well, no, it kills you if you keep doing it. And that's sad. It doesn't have to be. So I wish he'd taken better care of himself. That's all. That's if the only thing, if there's any positive to come out of it, it's like if somebody's not healthy, it's not a joke. You could fucking die, and that's a shame.
It's a message for the younger guys.
That's all.
Take care of yourself.
Yeah, it really sucks how much hacks take care of their bodies. Hacks are always in great shape.
Yeah, exactly.
Prop comics. It's built into the act. The lifting, packing,
lifting that suitcase full of props.
Steve Byrne is cut like a swimmer. That guy's got a Sorry, I just picked a name.
I don't even know his name, and I still know that's funny.
That was the saddest moment to me yesterday was when I saw the Wikipedia turn over, because in the morning when it went out on Twitter, it didn't have the death on Wikipedia.
Right, yeah.
And when I saw Wikipedia turn over and it said Patrice died on this day, it was so sad to me because it was that moment where it officially became, number one, that he was gone, and number two, I was like, he's officially one of those guys now. He's this brilliant artist that, just like the guys I found a million times, discovered, and then you go on Wikipedia and go, I want to learn more about this guy, and then you go, he's dead?
There's an end
this
to it.
Guy's dead?
Well,
like,
now
that's
he's embossed at that age now. That's
Right.
it. That's the end of it.
Really sad. Yeah, that is. I hate the idea of not getting any new, something new that I
when
haven't
he did a
heard.
half-hour special back when we did them at the, there was a bunch of HBO half-hours that got done, and he did one when I did one. And
Did you do one of those half hours? I didn't remember.
I did a
that.
half hour, and it was a new thing for him. Like, it was something that he was unsure of. And I remember the first show he did, he almost like froze, like he couldn't get through the show. And then the second show was good, but it wasn't his best. Like, it was people weren't seeing how good he was.
Dude, Elephant in the Room's where it came out.
But then he fucking figured it out.
Yeah, that's
and he that was it. That was him going like, and now people actually see how good he was. He could have done 10 of those.
That captured his exact.
He could have just started churning those out. It would have changed It would have changed the tide for him.
He was just naturally funny. And I compared him in an interview yesterday briefly to Pryor because, Pryor was Pryor. But as a naturally funny human being, there's no comic who ever lived that Patrice couldn't have sat and been funny with.
Right.
There's no fucking comedian that we call legends that he could not have sat in a room with and gone back and forth with and been respected by and been funny with. No one.
Effortlessly.
Not
Dude,
one comic.
When he went on at that roast at the end, that was like the most amazing thing I ever saw because I had like at least four like Comedy Central importants that I don't even know like what all their jobs are. Like, is he going to be okay? Is his we don't have his thing? And I'm like, yeah, he'll be fine. Like, they were like getting to me, like, or I'll find like, yeah, he's going to be great. Like, and if not, it's not my fault. And he went on and like, I mean, he just what's Kate Walsh's boyfriend? This guy Chris something. He's like a producer. I remember sitting there watching Patrice at the end. He goes, wow, this is so different and real. Like, it was so different. I mean, they cut it pretty decent where you get a sense, but the actual thing there, like, after all these people got done with their, like, recited jokes, even the ones that were good, like, his shit was so fresh, and he's so unafraid of all these fucking Hollywood people. It was amazing, dude.
But he had to, because he was so uncompromising, he had to figure out how to make that work at all these different levels.
Yeah.
That's why it took him. Comedy takes a long time to get great at. Like, some people get good at it fast, but it takes a long time to become a great comic. So, like, the only thing you can tell anybody new is keep refining your voice and stay healthy
and get on the treadmill.
Just stay fucking, just stay alive. If you just stay alive and don't quit, you will be one of the best comedians ever lived.
That's all you got to do.
Stay fucking healthy.
Pretty simple.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
Live your way into greatness.
Right. I did a show in Chicago at the little club there, the Zanies. And it was like I had the week, and then Ralphie May had the Thursday. It was one of these things where he just sold mad tickets. So they just told me, Ralphie's doing Thursday. I'm like, this is my week. And they're like, well, you can come into the show if you want, because it's sold out in 10 minutes. So he came and did a show during my week, and then he had an opening act who travels with him. Some young guy. It was pretty funny. And he said, and he was sort of in Ralphie's orbit. Not just because he's a planet.
Of course.
he was one of those guys who had guys with him, like an entourage. And he said, "What? You got any advice?" I said, "Yes, stop traveling and getting high with Ralphie May. Like, don't that road that you're on of like getting stoned with Ralphie, going to McDonald's with him, drinking several beers at the end of every show. You can do it and enjoy it. It's a choice, but you're not going to be.
You're not going to get to the next.
You're not
level.
going to get there.
Right.
It takes a long fucking time.
Yeah.
It's
How's
a grown.
Ralphie not have
You know.
a stroke, by the way? Like,
Jesus.
I guess
Well,
be white.
Did
you know?
you see where he hides his weed, Ralphie?
No.
He pulls his pants and it's under his fat flap.
All right,
really?
guys.
Yeah,
What is this, a witch hunt?
That he's like, hey man, I got a hiding spot. I was
White guy that we have that's alive.
He was in the hospital recently.
Just be white is really.
Ralphie went through his own thing recently, right?
Yeah.
What happened?
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, he was in bad shape for a little bit. I'm not sure where he's at right now, but so now a shitload of people discover Patrice now that he's gone.
Yeah, that's the best thing you can do as far as
that's so
just,
fucked up though.
Yeah, go see Elephant in the Room.
Well,
It's on Netflix now.
Buy it, yeah.
I think it's going to be on
Buy it.
Comedy Central Thursday night. Or...
Yeah, but you got to see the uncut one.
See the uncut one.
Yeah.
Fuck those people.
There's so much extra shit in there that I didn't realize was in there.
it's like an hour and a half, right?
It's an hour and 17 minutes.
Hour and 17.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right,
it's
guys.
just going to be a bummer when things happen and you in the news and you go like, I would love to hear Patrice's take on that. And unfortunately, sucks.
You can probably guess what it would be, though.
Oh, you can. Yeah. The crinkled nose.
He would have hated her. He would have hated her.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone for
Yes.
joining today.
Absolutely, man.
Thanks for having us, guys.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Dave and Jim and Lou and Joe DeRosa and Russ Maneve and Kurt Metzger and Colin and Bob and Amy. Colin and Amy just left.
Well, Colin said goodbye.
Oh, I was in the bathroom. Amy, just how about some social skills? How about saying goodbye?
I think she was scheduled for like another naked headshot or something.
Good. There were a lot of comics that wanted to come in today to do their, to be a part of this. So, guys, that was really cool. That was really cool that you let us come in. So, thank you.
Well, tomorrow we do the same
to
type
get
of
us
thing.
to 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
This was kind of the warm up.
Yeah,
we were like the guys who.
the first show.
Tomorrow will be Steve Martin. I think you know the surviving Hudson brother.
Holy shit.
The original Mork before they went with Robin Williams.
The pilot Mork.
The surviving cast of What's Happening.
All right.
But thanks, guys.
Everyone's good?
Yeah. Patrice, we miss you.
Bye, Patrice.
Absolutely. I don't think he's listening, though.
All right, guys. That's it, I guess. Blah, 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 blah. End this and just fucking hit something.
Opie and Anthony. This is the Opie and Anthony Show. Sirius XM.